This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
And now, slightly later in the future.
Okay, we're gonna kill them. You know, they're gonna be like dead.
Instrumental. So, man. Scary, good. I gotta level it out a bit. Yeah, gotta stay level. You know what the fatal flaw with democracy is? You know, however pluralistic and tolerant, you know what the fatal flaw of democracy is that's never really taken on the chin? And these defenders don't even try to like defend intellectually in some kind of, you know, political philosophy way. You know what the fatal flaw of democracy is? It's the...
Oh, man. I've seen enough. I think we've seen enough. More at 11. More at 11. Yeah. And now for tonight's top billing.
Yeah. Good luck with that. It's a rule, but it's an unenforceable rule on planet Earth, but Reddit thinks that it can do something that can't be done elsewhere on planet Earth. Reddit's got all kinds of rules. That's why it's not fun to post on Reddit. And just the structure of the comments is so bad. Like, you gotta, like, it opens up new tabs when you want to unload more comments. It's just such a bad site, just functionally, as well as in terms of, you know, oh, the titles here, I spoiled it. I was gonna do a whole, you know, another kind of, oh, what could it be? What could it be? But you read it, right? Yeah, discussing Bertney. Yeah, it's too fascinating. I know Iran's going on. I know there's a lot of, yeah, bad stuff and retaliation. But it's like, you know, like I've been there and done that. You know, I've explained why. Like, it's stupid. It all starts from the fact that, you know, even after World War II, people couldn't figure it out. That, you know, long term, we shouldn't all have these standing armies as nations. Because the jarheads will, you know, just comply, no matter how illegal and unconstitutional the order is. So it's like, yeah, Iran's going on, but it's like, you know, it all stems from the same crap. So it's like, yeah, I'm on the discussing Bertney subreddit. Why did Bertney? Oh, when or what? No, why? Why did Bertney lean into the trailer park trash image? They should have said when, so that I can say, well, she was born that way. She didn't lean into it. Why is someone the way they are born? Why does someone lean into their inner nature and essence? Yeah, it's because their inner nature and essence makes them. Well, let's see if we can find some of the, you know, recent ones. You know, I had some fun with the knife stuff when I did that whole long thing. But, you know, that was after she did this, and I didn't even see that she did this. Like, if she had done this, I wouldn't have done the knives at that Alive-in, a tribute to all kinds of things that are, you know, gynocratic. Alive-in somewhere, but not here, man. Yeah. Britney partook in Asylum-Prison break. Britney partook in Asylum-Prison break. Yeah. Britney was dangerous to herself and others. But you can't do anything. You can't, like, the people don't get it. Yeah, you can't force folks who don't want to be forced when they're adults and, you know, don't want to be overprotected. Yeah. Strong, another of the strong women, unlike these rotten men. You know, God, the stuff they've been saying about just the men in general is even worse than the last outcry I did in, you know, Simp in the Abstract. I did this whole outcry. It's like, God, those hags on Blue Sky are saying all kinds of just awful things about just the men. No qualifications. It's just the men. Caveat-free insulting commentary on the men because Epstein got away with it for so long. And because the elite men are really that bad that often. But it's like, you know, why should I sit for it? Why should I stand for it when, you know, it's kind of, you know, can't... takes two to tango, man. Yeah. You know, so the men who would tango with, you know, stuff like this to the point where you end up this, you know, with all the financial advantages and manifold people care about you advantages. And, you know, she lied about her fam. She just lied about her fam and all that, you know, so-called theft. Like, there was no theft. You have to pay people, Bertney. People who do stuff for you, who fetch, you know, you want it and they fetch. It's like, yeah, you have to pay them. Ever more demands means ever more payments. They didn't steal from you. But that's just one of many. You know, there's more. There's her doing this in motion. It's like we have to. Yes. Let's cheat on the stallion husband with Derek because he's armed and tatted. Yes, more innocent times. God. Once upon a time, I knew she was depraved from day one, but once upon a time I would have said, you know, it is more depraved. But these days, you know, no, she's got him beat. She's got him beat. I don't think she'll live to be as old as he lived. Oh, so it's analysis. Yeah, is people doing analysis? Hear the analysis, but I'll turn it down if it's music, because I can't just get away with anything in terms of music, can I?
While I'm being really honest, I think she's on Maath. And if you know
Maath, yeah. Bertney's on Maath. Bertney tried to solve a math problem. And it didn't work out. Yeah, you know. They're against, what is it? Female, what is it? Misogynistic, looks-based misogyny, but it's like all they talk about is like Bertney's looks while they're, you know, outspoken against. Instead of just saying lookism, it's like, you know, looks-based misogyny, but it's like you guys are, you know, and so often like the commenters, like in this subreddit are like chicks, and it's like, yeah, I called it from day one, she was rotten, and everyone called me jealous, and I'm like, wow. Female conjecture in the West even like turned against itself. Female conjecture in the West will, when you go after like someone they're bamboozled with and, you know, will like spend money on to see not sing live. Yeah, they'll spend money to see Bertney shake her ass and not sing live. And then it's like when you point out that like Bertney is like rotten as a person and irresponsible and non-talented broadly. It's like, you know, female conjecture in the West like turns in on itself. It's like a move as steeped in conjecture as it is gynocentric. Oh, criticism of Bertney means that you're jealous of Bertney. Yeah, that's really artful, isn't it? A move as steeped in conjecture as it is gynocentric. But it keeps enough of the chicks in line. You know, men criticizing, you know, this kind of irresponsible female behavior, you know, if that's not going to work, it's fellow women that have to criticize women, you know? Yeah, I really like that. A move is steeped in conjecture as it is gynocentric. But why can't I find...
You could say the same thing about something like
Yeah, it's just true, you know, men conjecture less. You know, I've had some men conjecture in the way of like, you know, I insult them really well and they're butthurt and all they have like in return is like just... instinctive, combative conjecture, but it's just so much more frequent with women. Yeah, womb only knows egoic backtalk, man, I'm telling you. Yeah, I snipped this one. I'll use this one during the audio.
videos this week, which
I don't care about your stupid analysis. Yeah, that's the good stuff, yeah. Mama needs sugar. Yeah, I got stuck in Mexico. Mama needs sugar. When they used a butt double for the Make Me music video, yeah. You probably shouldn't have, like, ass when you're titling your songs, make with ass,
like,
yeah.
America, believe everything you read.
Yeah.
It's like, you're smart and I'm stupid. Like,
Yeah.
for real, come on, y'all. And then after that, like, I totally saw Austin, like, on the USA Today, because I always believe everything you read. That it said that, you know, like, I was drinking all the time. And, like, it was sick, right? It was so true. I mean, oh my god, it was so right. And like my management totally knew what they were doing when they sent me to rehab. So right, you know, and it just like I'm just gonna cry right now because like the world is so nice. Like this lady, she told me, she said, Britney, go to the light. Go to the light and see Jesus, okay? And I was like,
alive and somewhere, but not here.
oh my god, I'm gonna do it. And I did it. And it happened. Yeah. And it was so weird because our world is so nice.
Bertney partook in a world break. Bertney went to the light. Hang on, I just want to find some more of these, you know, the recents, man, where she looks like even like a raccoon would go, like, that's like double raccoon, like, yeah, Shia LaBeouf, man. Yeah, it's another guy who had all manner of advantages and just acted out too much, you know, he just had his own show as a kid, screwed things up. Too much testosterone by way of the Hulk juice for Shia LaBeouf. Gross. It's gross and racist. Vanilla. It's racist against vanilla lames. Hang on. Yeah, it's gross and racist against vanilla lames who, you know, can't handle that much grinding during intercourse. You know, it's the act of mating. You gotta keep it tasteful. You're creating a new life, don't you know? Didn't you guys read Shop? It's like you're creating a new life with the act of mating. What are you doing grinding that much and for the public? Is it this one? Yeah, you're creating new lives. Don't, you know, be sensational about creating life. You know, orgy life, many lives created by way of orgy. Let's just pause it so we can turn down the volume, because, yeah, maybe I should have queued up one of my own tunes. Yeah. She's struggling with narcotics. Save Bertney. Yeah. Can't save what doesn't want to be saved, you know. You know, she's looking for her next Dereg. And she has to signal that it's okay that Dereg is troubled because, look, I too was troubled. Yeah, that's how she finds her next Dereg. Yeah, Bertney and Dereg, a match made in heaven. You know, fast life history heaven. Yeah, it's fast. Yeah, she would have so been on the chopping block even a decade before had it not been for the fame. You know, they're so wrong to attribute it to the fame. She would have so been on the chopping block. You know, were it not for, you know, all the money she still has. You know, yeah, I don't know. You know, he faked it. Yeah, Sam faked it with her. You know, and she should have tolerated that it was fake because, you know, man, that other guy, wow. Oh, the one time Bertney said something awesome. I really don't like the United States. I never liked it, and I won't like it. There are so many beautiful places out there, and even so, I'm stuck in this stupid country. Yeah, you know, stupid can sometimes recognize stupid. But, you know, Iran and serious business, you know, no plan, Donald's got about as much of a plan for Iran as she has for her future. And he insists on pursuing Iran, and they insist on pursuing Iran, just as she insists on pursuing a future, despite having no idea how she's going to go about it without, you know, one or another calamity and ultimately, you know, the coffin.
I said, I'm not scared of a germ. You know, I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats. And I know this disease will kill me.
Mommy and son. Mommy and son. Aww, mommy and boy. But what else is here? Aww. Maybe you just weren't meant to natal. It's not the worst thing in the world, you know. Some dames just ain't made to natal, though they think otherwise. No one is made to natal. It's just your biology tricks you. Oh, you can't think past the programming. You, of all people. Look at that. Classics, man, the classics. Oh, that's low. That's low even for Reddit. That's low even for Reddit. The tabloids. Back to the tabloids. 2026. This ain't no deep fake, folks. This ain't no deep fake. Unfortunately, we lived it, didn't we? It's been a long time coming. It's not their fault. Mama is insane. One of those vertical ones that I'm doing horizontally, but somehow it's okay. I'll throw stuff in the black. We want more. We want some more. Yeah, let's throw some in the black. Yeah, throw some in the black. It's a classy outfit. Classy, not assy. Classy, not assy. I always wanted to be a mom. Yeah, she's just like any woman. She wants it all. Yeah. I can be a mom careerist and an exotic dancer too. You know, it's because men just won't say no. Yeah, men won't say no. That's why they think they can do it all. Yeah, men ought to learn to say no, but men aren't much wiser. Man, look at it go. It's just such bad music, but no. It can't be stressed enough. Choices matter. You know, she chose to do drugs. Drugs even I wouldn't do. And then some.
This is what I mean. Everything about this is actually insane. Every different piece of it is so weird. We're at war. And everybody's just like, whatever.
Yeah, it's like in the span of just over a month, it's like a different type of scarecrow. I think the Jan 18th scarecrow is less scary. You want to see the... Yeah, it's just over a month and it's like... you know, but at the same time, you know, it's not that different. It's just getting more freaky and dirty in this one. Yeah, you know, you went on to be even dirtier than your rival, Aguilera, didn't you, Brit? Though Aguilera wanted to kind of feign that she was dirty. Nah, ain't no one more dirty. This is what a woman who tolerates having, like, her acolytes and just rabid fans and dudette fans, you know, threaten the lives of her nieces and other family members and doesn't, like, intervene and say, hey, my fans, stop that. Yeah, this is what a woman who doesn't intervene and just lets that go on looks like. And, you know, let's not even begin with her own sons and the ordeals she's put them through. But yeah, you know, so you innocent, pure vanilla lames, you know, this is a public service announcement, you know, that's androcentric. You heed my public service announcement. This is a woman who, like, lets her nieces get threatened and intimidated and just doesn't care because her fans are going to bat for her. Yeah, if you go to bat for her, you know, it doesn't matter what else you do. She's not going to tell you to stop. You know, I'm just saying. I have a theory. There's something gynocentric about it.
How naive do I sound when I say to you, do you know, I'm not sure I realised that being rich and powerful provided you with so much impunity.
This is the pre-track, clickety-clack. Yeah, it's... By the way, there's a new Ayatollah in town. I don't know if you knew this. He's the same as the old one. I mean, literally, he's the son of the old one. And according to most experts, he's worse. He's more, quotes, hardline, end quotes, than the last bloke who was supposed to be the most hardline person on the planet. So it's all going brilliantly well. They've replaced the old Ayatollah with his own son, who is more hardline than the old fella. The regime is still in place. There's no sign of the rebellion on the streets, which is a pretty obvious consequence of almost all the guns belonging to the 20% of the population that are still supportive of the regime. And Donald Trump is claiming that he's already won. Except when he's claiming that he hasn't already won, and therefore he needs to do X, Y, and Z to ensure that he does win. I said it again. I said it 20 minutes ago, and I'll say it again. Best thing that can happen now, Donald Trump just calls the whole thing off and pretends it never happened. Marches around either claiming victory or literally pretending that it never happened. I've been completely exonerated. I don't know what else it counts as a good case scenario. But I do know this. You have thoughts on Tony Blair's...
Just some charismatic and power-hungry and ruthless individual who ends up replacing Khamenei and is maybe even crazier or even more jihadist or even more committed to secretly sponsoring Western mega-terrorism than Khamenei was. Like, I don't... Just lay the landscape of what the options...
It's not that uncomfortable. It's false advertising. They're like a totally conventional guy, bud.
I think I know what the...
Oh, uncomfortable conversation. It's not uncomfortable at all.
Landscape of what the options are now.
Low horizon.
I think I know
uncomfortable. Wait, sorry.
Just lay the landscape of what
Iran.
the options are now.
I think I know what the Trump people are hoping for.
what they're hoping is that Khamenei was a fanatic and there were fanatics around him. But if you kill the top 200 people in the regime, that's where your shovel begins to hit the crooks. And there are a lot of people down, guy number 201, 202, 203, who are basically crooks. And with a little pastiche of Islamism, a little pastiche of piety, but crooks.
That sounds like a haphazard plan.
And those are the kind of people that maybe you can do business with. And I think what the Trump people hope is we start saying to guy number...
Crook or non-crook? Crook or fanatic? That's U.S. foreign policy. Crook or fanatic?
Would you like to be the supreme leader?
Guesswork.
And live.
Would you like to be the leader? Are you a crook or a fanatic? Or, which one pulls you harder?
Start saying to guy number 201, how would you like to be the supreme leader and live?
What if it's situational?
And keep your money. And guy number 201 doesn't like it, so you kill him and you go to guy number 202, and eventually find somebody who says yes.
Yeah, that sounds like really like haphazard, like next level.
Point you've got a governmental structure that is more or less continuous with what you have now, and what the better people in Trump, what Marco Rubio is probably the best.
It's not interventionism, it's not imperialism. Sure as hell isn't the isolationism he ran on. No, it's what it is. It's haphazardism, geopolitical haphazardism in Iran, and it's gonna get us all killed. God, this coming November, I'm telling you, it's the anniversary of Network, and I'm totally gonna shout out the window. We're all gonna die.
Hopes would happen, I think. Is we get to guy number 202, he becomes the new supreme leader. He rules through a mixture of more corruption and less terror. And then he begins the transition. But he also understands that if he wants to be a more successful crook, he needs to run a richer country. And that means Iran needs to reintegrate with the rest of the world, abandon the terrorism. And you get a kind of gradual transition to a more benign form of government. And the model here is Greece, Spain, Portugal in the 1970s, where you go from dictatorship to democracy over a decade.
So you said, what if man 202 is committed to more corruption but less terror? Well, let's suppose that man 203 is committed to more corruption and more terror also, but he's not going to tell you that. How can you tell the difference between 202 and 203? And what if you accidentally go to 203 first, but he looks like 202?
There's no question there's a lot of wishful thinking in this plan. But I think that the premise of the plan is that the regime is pretty rotten at this point, and the number of true believers is actually by now quite small, and it's mostly crooks.
He still gets a lot of flack as a speechwriter. He was there to write speeches for domestic policy. It's not his fault 9/11 happened, contrary to some anti-Semites. It's not his fault 9/11 happened, but he was there just as a speechwriter, and it's all domestic policy kind of stuff. He wasn't there to do foreign policy, even as a speechwriter. And they're still it's your fault. It is his fault that he's so mindless on education. That's why I have a grudge against him. That and just his whole demeanor and kind of this whole, him and Mona Charen having conversations these people want to convince us that they're polite 24/7. That whole affect. We're the people who are polite even when the cameras aren't rolling and behind closed doors. No, you're just a very different person. It's just reputational mindfulness. But anyway, it's good points. Yeah, they don't know what they're doing, and he's kind of trying to get him to steel man the crazy people's plan, and it's it's a haphazard plan. What else do you want me to say? It's a Bertney video. We're gonna go back to Bertney, but I have to do my Iran 2026 Iran Contra video. It's not an Iran video. It's an Iran Contra Bertney video.
Guy from 201 to 210.
Because what else can you even say anymore? What else can you say? We're all going to die.
Yeah, correct.
Wait, sorry, what?
Actually, by now, quite small, and it's mostly crooks. So if you pick a guy from 201 to 210, even at random, the odds are very high. He's fundamentally a crook.
And by crook, just to clarify, you mean somebody who is more interested in lining their own pockets than in doing some grand ideological move against the Zionists or the...
Yeah, a crook like a swindler, a con man.
Or something, basically not
a conservative politician.
Ideological hack.
I read, I don't know this, but I read.
He who sets traps, spiderweb for the pawns of the conservative movement. A con man.
The IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, control about 30 to 40% of the economy. They control the construction. They control everything of any scale.
You get facts and figures secondhand through David if you watch me.
And they control that both collectively, but many people have individual companies, and they will want to keep those companies, Marco Rubio hopes. And so they may be willing to do business. If the United States says to them, look, that large construction company you have, you keep it. We're not asking too many questions. And the money you have in the bank account in Dubai or Qatar, we're not asking questions about it. All we ask is that you govern in a more modern and humane way, and you reorient yourself more to the West, and you give up the terrorism, which is anyway very expensive.
Yeah, except for schooling.
So, I mean,
don't orient yourself to the West. I don't care if you're, barely housed. If you're close to the equator, it's better than his precious schooling.
Isn't Iran as wealthy as Portugal?
Youth ruiners.
They poured trillions of dollars into empire and aggression. And if you just stop doing that, there are a lot of resources.
Did any of that schooling do Bertney any good?
Both for the needs of people, but also to enrich the leaders.
Yeah, I mean, it's also...
Bertney was sped up with her fast life history. Yeah, Bertney was sped up through the last couple of years of high school to match her fame, fast life conditions.
Corrupt and closed economy, which doesn't help productivity growth versus being a liberal free market democracy. But so then the humanitarian justification for the war is tempered somewhat by the...
We just got to have growth, even when AI is about to swallow us all. Because of the growth, they're still like, oh, yeah, there's people who don't support enough growth, and poor people are starving because of those people. Yeah, if everyone supported growth in the world, there would be no more poor people because there'd be sufficient growth because, everyone in the world would support growth. Yeah, sure thing, bud. How do you put it?
So a corrupt and closed economy, which doesn't help productivity growth versus being a liberal free market democracy.
Neither does our growth subsequent AI overhaul of many great things. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a stalemate at this point for me. Growth versus non-growth. It's okay, growth is, you want more luxury. Jim wants more luxury. Jim pretends he needs more luxury, so we have more growth. But, man, Anthropic got canceled. And the other evil one, Palantir, is going to make it worse. But then, AI is bad despite that. But that, this next level, interwoven. Yeah, it's all because of growth. So if we did the degrowth thing, a lot more people would have, died of these famines. But AI wasn't about to swallow us collectively, and that's probably the better course. Unless you're like an extinctionist, in which case you're probably rooting for AI to swallow us collectively. But I still have lots of agendas to implement here in March 2026. Tough chance, man. Tough chance. Yeah, they flooded the zone, all right. Tough chance. Yeah. AI can do my job. Yeah, AI can read text. But no, there's more to the segment. Yeah, no independent thought. What is it? It's the neo-do. It's the neo-do. No independent thought at all. Obey and buy. Yeah, right. Tough chance, but maybe. Yeah, enough people are doing it still. It's not gonna happen in this video. Oh man, all kinds of bad facts and figures. I send this to a certain fan member, and it's like they flip out so hard, and it's like, oh man, you just can't deal with how wrong you are, can you? Yeah, it's just kind of milquetoast facts and figures. They're not hard to find. I guess, Kremlin will dispute that it's going this badly, but of course they would. What is it? Tough progs. Yeah, I don't think this is fair, but then again, I don't follow enough. But it seemed based on vibes, I would just do I would float it a bit, just floating it, just based on some of the vibes. I've seen a few of these snips. She does seem enthusiastic. It's okay to point out that, man, that's one deep cookie jar, and the Israeli hand is a very elongated hand. And the U.S. Cookie jar is a very deep and steep one. But, when I say it, it's I don't sound enthusiastic, but some of them sound like enthusiastic about these types of observations, you know, the US-Israeli pipeline observations. What was this one? Yeah, when you're fake tough, that's what happens. But, you know, photograph yourself with bears and such, or you superimpose yourself on horses or whatever that was, and it's like, yeah, leading us to glory. Yeah, sorry, Anna, you're not that bad, but, you know, why do you and Gank as well sound so enthusiastic about, you know, just how bad it is with Israel? Yeah, it's no cause for enthusiasm. It's almost like progressivism has an anti-Semitism problem, you know, but it's nothing like problems the GOP has.
Had loads of comments on this video from people who think it's AI generated. It's not. This is genuine footage of a huge fire at an oil depot in Tehran after strikes on Iran's capital. And we're going to show you how we know that it's real. First, we found where this video was filmed. We matched this highway, these real overhead signs, and the flyover to what we can see in satellite imagery. It's here, about half a mile away from the Aszsy oil depot. Next, we confirmed when
people
the
just
video
refuse to believe
online.
that
We took multiple
it can
screenshots
rain
and did
oil,
reverse image search.
and AI doesn't have to get involved. Yeah, AI doesn't have to get involved for it to rain oil for realsies.
Ever appeared online before.
BBC will show you
that
how
the video is new.
get
Next,
to the bottom of
we're
it.
looking for the telltale signs of AI. Here's some of what we're looking out for.
Yeah, I bet he knows like far more
AI
in
video
terms of
claims to
telling
show an
what's AI versus not compared to the average Substack dupe.
Airstrike next to Dubai's Burj Khalifa skyscraper.
Probably
Satellite
makes a lot,
shows
and
there's
maybe
no
even more than
canal
him.
or housing like this near the building. Or this fake image allegedly showing a
It is valuable information to actually know the steps and which steps you yourself can take to determine what's fake versus real in the fog of war, when there's also like AI deepfakes adding to the fog.
Commander
It's like so much fog,
His face
man.
is clearly distorted. The Hebrew text on this helmet is scrambled, typical of AI. Or these fake images appearing to show US soldiers captured by Iran. They have a watermark for a Google AI tool called Gemini in the corner.
There we go.
But this fire video has no signs of AI. It's right to question the footage that you're seeing on your feed, but this video is real.
Thank you, BBC, and fuck you, Substack. I gotta get this up fast, or she's gonna be a goner, and this is all gonna be in very poor taste. But yeah, make no mistake, I'd do it. I'd do it anyway.
Have you met with any of the American citizens who have been detained or arrested by your agency?
The individuals that may have been detained and arrested
What are you doing?
were individuals
What
that
are you
could have
doing?
been obstructing law enforcement operations.
Oh, you're diverting and filibustering. We know that. But what else are you doing? In the sense that yesterday's news known.
And Miramar, would you please stand? These three individuals.
Yeah, she dodged. She just dodged frank answers till the bitter end.
Were arrested,
but
by
it's
your
over for her
agency,
now.
Leonardo Garcia.
It's not over for her. She's going to be making bank. Certainly more than the typical person, and even the above typical person. She's going to keep making bank, but not as much as she has in the current position she had until like 2 days ago.
Ramirez and Miramar.
It's yesterday's news. No.
Do you know what your agents did to?
So
Leo
yesterday. So yesterday.
I'll tell you. On May 21 of last year, they.
I'm just a girl whose face has been washed away. So yesterday.
Without a warrant.
But
illegally.
Yeah, a lot of that.
Again,
that's, yeah, if I could wind us back.
June 12th,
but YouTube
private property,
verticals, it's hard to wind them back. But yeah, illegal. Illegal is the main term. I want to see her face before I navigate away. We got to see that face one more time.
His proof of citizenship. Wouldn't you agree with me that no U.S. citizen simply working?
She just might agree with you, but it would constitute a frank answer and a binary answer. And when they're being interrogated in these committee interrogation, hearings, you know, then they're non-binary. They're non-binary gnome when you have to answer binary questions in binary ways.
Should be arrested?
In law enforcement operations across the country.
This is non-binary.
There are times when U.S.
So yesterday, I'm just a girl whose face has been washed away. And
when they are obeying the law, they have no criminal record, and they are engaged in lawful activity.
It's just not.
Sir, in situations where law enforcement, regardless of the agency across the country, when there is probable cause, an individual.
Yeah, but there isn't. Is there? No. It's just masked ice chuds who think they're like infallible in terms of them having a nose for it. They think they have a nose for illegals, but it's just a nose for prejudice. But let's see what else is here.
You know what I've always said?
It's Jesse.
You know how you got to
Jesse Ventura.
Vote to go to war, supposedly?
Emphasis on the supposedly.
Always said we should.
This was before the invasion of Iran. This is just because of all the, saber rattling and other kind of flexing they're doing. Oh, this was because of Venezuela. This is what he did after Venezuela. But little did he know they would do Iran as well. And as a result, it's World War III, man. You know? I've been on the internet for like over 2 decades, and for much of that time I've known a bunch of like conspiracy theorists who are like, World War III has started. It started. For like decades on end I've seen that shit. And like finally those people are right. But they're accidentally right. And even the more established figures are saying it as well now. Yeah, it's pretty much an informal beginning of World War III. And Jesse's got a proposal.
Pass a law.
Congress should pass a law.
That when Congress votes to go to war, someone in their immediate family has to begin immediate military service.
I agree, but I think the only way to make it happen is through a direct democracy. You're never going to get that law passed unless it's a direct democracy. With as many pissed off people as there are about this crap, then it may be, what do they call it? A referendum. Yeah, pass it as a referendum.
If they vote yes to go to war, then someone in their family, because I'm sick and tired of the Vietnam stuff, where not one elected official had a kid over there, or you got Donald Trump and his old man Fred.
Yeah, but they didn't even vote for it this time. They just, laid over.
The other day they came out with his medical report. You hear that, where they said he's healthier than Obama?
Of course. Why would they say the truth when they don't have to account for the truth? Like on anything, especially on stuff that like only doctors know the actual truth. So like, You know, they lie about shit that's like on video, like plain as day assassinations of American citizens, and they just lie about it, and those people still haven't been prosecuted, you know, or even the initiation behind the prosecution, like nothing like that. But the evidence of the assassination is there, plain as day on video. And they lied about it and got away with it. So why would they not lie about like Donald's health when like only the doctor knows whether the Donald is healthy or not?
I would have said, well, what happened to the bone spurs?
Yeah, those were lies too.
I mean, you had bone spurs that kept...
I hope he didn't have bone spurs when he was much younger, because then when I say, like, you know, if he were 40 and I'm 40, yeah, I'll wipe the floor with him. You know, with some men you just know, even men who are bigger, yeah, you just know sometimes. But then if he had bone spurs, then I would feel bad about wiping the floor with him. But, you know, if they take over Canada, I'm not saying any of this.
You from military service, they don't just disappear magically.
Yeah.
You have to have them removed. I'd like to know, when did you have them removed? Because you've never missed a golf game.
I guess it's still possible to be a good fighter and have bone spurs. I've never had them, so I don't know how much of a handicap that would be when it comes to fighting. But, you know, if it's not enough of a handicap for the military crap, then it probably is a handicap for, you know, life is a matter of fists. Yeah, that's what life's about. Life's about fists.
And yet you couldn't go to boot camp. You know what I've always said? You know how you got to vote to go to war, supposedly?
Yeah, these shorts loop. And I think every time they loop, it's like an extra click, even though you didn't do the click. Yeah. I think even then, you know, these videos, if I did the loop thing and if they were like 10 seconds, like even then, like, you know, I would be stuck in obscurity.
I've always
but that's okay.
Said we should pass a law that when Congress votes to go to war, someone in their immediate family has to begin immediately.
Unless it's a like clearly a defensive war, right? You know, yeah, when it's aggressive and you can't gainsay the facts that it's aggressive, which they try to gainsay by just lying about it and saying it's very indirectly defensive. It's like, no, you guys are being aggressive, you Yanks and Israelis, to be sure.
Military service.
Yeah, so all aggressive initiation wars, then yeah, I agree. But not when it comes to like, you know, like the Congress that voted for World War II. Like, yeah, their families shouldn't have been sent to fight World War II, you know, unless they had families dumb enough to sign up.
If they
to be mincemeat, yeah,
vote yes,
that's what you are.
To go to war, then someone in their family, because I'm sick and tired of the Vietnam stuff.
Yeah.
We're not one elected official.
You'll probably have a lot less like family-oriented people being Congress people. You're probably going to have a lot more like solitaries serving Congress then. And that's probably going to be better for society and the world at large if the, you know, non-familial people who are capable of extinguishing their biases when it comes to pretty much everyone. Yeah, non-familial, solitary people, you know, they should be the ones in charge, not just of Congress, but of, you know, the executive branch too. Yeah, I should be in charge.
I had a kid over there.
I should run the world because I can, you know, filter out my biases.
Or you got Donald Trump and his old man Fred. You know, the other day they came...
So this is a great proposal. Just seriously, I'm saying this is a great proposal if the wars are aggressive. And if they can't gainsay the fact that the wars are aggressive, you know, and if Congress is actually the ones doing the voting on the wars, so nothing like modern America now. Oh, where's the title? There was the title. Oh, the title's gone. Oh, well.
License and registration, please.
It's Britney, bitch.
Story checks out. Story checks out. TMZ says so. It was a double. It was a double. It wasn't Bertney. But did it happen? The link to the police report? Yeah, no, it's TMZ. They never link to the police report. Or the mug shots. Oh, I guess the inner circle admits it. Okay, yeah, that's definitely happened. Oh, there was a whole audio. Oh, wow, yeah, okay, it happened. Man, maybe I'll discover the audio as I'm discovering things. But, you know, that's today. I did the other stuff yesterday, and it's like, that's today. It's like I'm going to have a Bertney solo video. I'm going to have a Bertney solo video, because I'm not going to squeeze all this into a separate video. Heavens no. Reddit. It's all Reddit's fault. It's all Reddit's fault. Yeah, even the fingerprints. It's the mean Reddit. There's the Bertney stan Reddit, but this is the Reddit where there's only like a few stans. Oh, there's all kinds of footage. I gotta find the footage. Yeah. New stuff. Shit. Got it all and acted out. Shit. It gets sadder. It gets sadder. Police report. Police report or it didn't happen. Fake news. I'm on Team Bertney. Fake news. It's a loop, man. It's always a stupid loop on TMZ.
Hey, Britney. Look right about here. Right about here.
It was so bad for so long. I didn't know.
Oh, will you get the car? Yeah, it's right there. No, it was one over there. So, what are you looking for, Britney? Britney, what are you looking for? Your what? Your memory card?
Come on, bud. She was clear. Yeah.
Can someone find her memory card?
If nothing else, she's lucid about the car. She knows what she wants. It's just she needs to remember where she left it. That's the problem. No, you took it. I can't take responsibility. You took it. No, you just forgot where you parked. It's okay. If I did the drugs you did, I'd forget so too.
We got it. There you go.
But, you know, if you don't drive, you just decrease the number of times you have to deal with the cops, you know, in these encounters. Yeah, just don't drive. You don't have to deal with the cops like ever. Yeah, like the last time I really had to deal with them, you know, I told that story where I, you know, went into the bad part of town when I breached the fence and then they reprimanded me because it was the Olympics and, you know, he said, he called me Hoss. It's the only time I've been called Hoss. You're lucky to be getting out of here without scrapes and scars, Hoss. Like, I'm not your Hoss guy. I didn't say that. I was just, you know, really pissed off at those asshole cops.
Look out, guys.
But Brit is just pissed off at the paparazzo because she forgot where she parked. She can't admit it to herself.
You like us again, Britney?
Yeah.
Thank you, Britney.
I just don't like it when you get in my way of my pictures.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that, Britney.
Take one right now. Person just like you.
Why don't you take one right now?
You're a special person. You're a special person who has just a legion of just fanatical, you know, wannabe Britneys who will justify anything. She does idolatry, you know, skanky idolatry, gynocratic thing. Yeah, so many more female adorers than male ones, although we don't know the number of men who wank to her still. We'll never know these things because men won't disclose things that are the worst about themselves. Yeah, you know, but like if you're a wanker of hers or were, it doesn't mean you were a fan. It just means you were a wanker of hers. Past or present, past or present. Yeah.
Hey, John, go back to the car. John,
some men like them tragic, you know, if those men too are fast life history addled. Yeah, Derek likes them tragic. That's why she flaunts her tragic ways.
Go back to the car.
It's about being fast life history. You know, concordant. She knows she has to be concordant to her fast life history essence that compels her
Britney.
to be how she is.
Okay, Britney? Sorry. Come on, bro, you're not having no works.
She's not quite a woman, not quite a hag here yet. I'm not quite a woman, not quite a hag. I can jog still.
Look out, guys.
A lot of Photoshop too as of late, like a lot of Photoshop. Just like candids of her in like 2024, and it's like, wow. She's a lot heavier.
Let's see. You gonna film us, Britney?
But back here, you know, Britney could, you know, put up with being candid. You know, didn't need to conceal herself. Oh,
Are you okay, Britney?
It was bad. It was bad. It was bad. I agree, it was bad. What else do I have here? I got some other stuff here. Hang on. Let's do some tunes. Yeah, this is so awesome. Hang on. We want to go. Oh, I want to go to the beginning. Such a good mix. Two nazies, right? Of course. You can't pretend he's not. The new conventional wisdom is, you know, it's not just like one Nazi/fascist at the table. If you're planning and colluding with them, it's two. I see two Nazis/fascists because they're colluding and collaborating. But no, it's different. It's different here, you know. Because it's not a cishet white man. He's different enough. He's different enough to get a pass. He can collude and get a pass because he's not cishet and white. If it were a cishet white guy who, you know, ticked all the boxes, yeah, it would be colluding. But no, not Zoran Magdani. And plus, he's Muslim. Hour long. No way. Yes way.
From all parking gate 2252, east on 118 East Yosemite, black sedan, erratic braking, swerving, and driving with no taillight.
Unfiltered.
483, driver is out of the vehicle, work code 4, on at the
hour. It was an hour.
Is there a DRE available?
5471 requesting a DRE. Is there anyone in Ventura that's a DRE?
Ventura 31, we have a DRE.
I want to see what's down. Oh, whoa. I legit didn't know, but what's better? Photos of her, you know, all but showing her snatch or the I don't know.
483.
Can we do both?
That's what men are providing.
Also, I forgot a couple of essential comments I forgot. He thinks men provide the following.
And provision.
As it is for the Christian extremists.
I love you.
That's what men are providing.
I love you for all your memorization, but I think it's actually, you just write it down, right? No, I think you just rant it out. Yeah, you just rant it out. I love you.
Christian extremists.
But no homo, but you know, you're like the only other person on the internet who like almost never says anything stupid. But I got a couple of add-ons for the Christian extremist. No, just the Christian coherentist. He does his darndest to keep it coherent and to actually examine what's in there, right? So he's an extremist. He's a fundamentalist. Well, yeah, it's the fundamentals. It's like Sam said it 20 plus years ago. And Richard and, you know, the rest of them, they were right. God, it's so obvious they were right. And all these progs are like so ass-hurt about it because the progs want to build like a working class coalition with like stuff like this, because stuff like this is often not wealthy and gets screwed over. And so like the progs are super ass-hurt that like Sam and Dawkins were all like right about the fundamentals, right? All they're doing is following the fundamentals and examining what's in there. Listen, but you know, he says,
they're bringing to the table love through protection and provision.
yeah, speak for yourself, bud.
Creepy, very creepy guy.
Yeah, you know, misandric, oddly too. You know, just more characterological serfdom, right? For men, you know, that's the gender ideology, you know, of the right. It's that, yeah, we're characterological serfs first and foremost, but it ought to impact men more. I don't think so, bud.
Time. If what women...
I can't put this in problems with sex. I have to put this in, you know, the one after.
Are providing.
But yeah, you know, I minimally mocked him in problems with sex. You should watch it. It's not been uploaded. In fact, it's not even been started yet. You know, it's gonna be the day before the big day. I can't wait to have the calendar get me all excited because it's the big day, because it's his day. It's the day where he gets to, you know, rub it in the rest of our faces that we don't get it. You know, that Christ died for our sins, you know, the non-Christians on the big day, tomorrow. Yeah, we're just not going to get it. You know, that Christ died for our sins, and we ought to feel all kinds of special ways tomorrow. We gotta feel, you know, it's a crazy long video. Maybe I can put this in there too, but fuck it. It's not going to make Christmas anyway. But like he thinks like we all ought to feel, you know, all the Christians ought to feel all kinds of special ways tomorrow that the rest of us just can't get.
Beauty. As well
Wait.
to the table love through protection and provision.
No, speak for yourself. I ain't no serf. I ain't no sacrificial land. I ain't no disposable individual. That's the other part of their, you know, gender ideology, but believing that they, you know, mounted within the Western ethos where the individual is supreme and to be protected. But then it's like, yeah, men are the serfs, but men are also individuals. Your gender ideology just wrecks whatever good might be when you spout the individualist protection in your Western ethos. It's all just formalistic. It's not substantive. You know, tradcons and just theists broadly, they can't believe in individualism partly because of their gender ideology, where men have to be the serfs, as he just said, the providers and the protectors. That's how you can be a lover as a man, as you be a provider and a protector.
Creepy, very creepy guy.
Yeah.
That takes time.
And just wrong and twisted.
If what women are providing is beauty as well as procreation, right? So
more speak for yourself.
giving to her husband children that will bear his name.
Yeah, and that are very unaffordable, and that your politics does nothing to help, like the vast majority of the people who are going to find it ever more unaffordable. But, you know, do it anyway and put a ring on it and have the wedding be super fancy, as it somehow has to be, or, you know, Dame's going to get upset. Dame thinks like you don't value her if you don't slave away, so you can afford a really fancy wedding that, you know, cuts you down about 10 grand. If you don't do that, you don't value her. That's like the typical, like, Western Dane. I don't know, maybe like, you know, in the best case, like 40% are stupid enough to think. If you don't waste thousands upon thousands of dollars on her, and therefore don't retire anywhere close to when you should, that's why so many men have to retire in their 60s. They can't save up enough because they waste that much money on women, so they get to be lovers. You got to be a spender and a protector and a provider for women so you can be a lover. And he reinforces it through scripture.
And then also you could also argue submission from the scripture. I think in Ephesians chapter 5, wives submit to your husbands in everything as the church submits to Christ.
I don't think so.
When you think of that for a wife,
speak for yourself.
Time is actually not on her side. Fertility declines with age.
Wow. Whoa. Yeah, I'll do a Joe Rogan one. Whoa.
Beauty, right? The Proverbs also say beauty, charm is deceitful and beauty is fleeting.
Whoa. Yeah, but like, you know, Joe Rogan and company will still like lift super hard, even though it's deceitful.
So the beauty is fading.
I guess it's only deceitful when it's the snare of female beauty.
That's what the scripture says. Beauty fades.
Wait, what?
With age. Beauty, right? The Proverbs also say beauty, charm is deceitful and beauty is fleeting.
Whoa.
So the beauty is fading. That's what the scripture says. Beauty fades.
No, it's not what the scripture said. It just is. It's just the way it is. It's not what, like... Look, listen, he has to tie everything back to scripture. God, how can he see that he's brainwashed? Like the most evident thing, like you, even like a 2-year-old can get it. You know, yeah, you know, the old person is like uglier than the young person. Yeah, if you're 90, you're gonna be uglier. Age makes you older. That's like he needs to consult the scripture to figure out that like age makes you older, and he doesn't get how brainwashed he is.
So the beauty is fading. That's what the scripture says. Beauty
no, it just happens. I don't need the scripture to show me that it just happens. I think even the blind can kind of sense when they like kind of put their, you know, fingers over their face when they're old and leathery. Like, yeah, even the blind can figure out age makes you older. You don't need no scripture, but you'll cling to it.
The physical beauty, the fertility is.
I challenge you too, like I challenged Candace. Just like LARP as an atheist for a month. And like a month when someone you really love dies. And then like just for that month, LARP is an atheist. And then you'll gain respect for us. You can't do it any other way, apparently. You'll see how much tougher it is. You guys think you're the ones who are like, you know, to criticize hedonism and shit. No, if anything, it's like the people who get it. That like, yeah, those who die, like you'll never talk to them again. And it's awful. And it hurts. But it's the kind of medicine that you ought to take. Not all medicine needs to taste nice.
Increasing, and also...
Yeah, because then you don't keep perpetuating it. Yeah, you see, you know, loved ones die, you never talk to them again. It's awful. All kinds of, you know, unsettled matters, you know, and intriguing matters for the future, but then they don't develop. And so you get it, that there's no cognitive escape hatch. There's no Goddard that's going to reunite any of you and, you know, you and Jesus too, who you also shouldn't love because you need to be parsimonious with your love, you fucking moron. You know. So yeah, just LARP as an atheist and you'll get it, just how much more sturdy atheists are. Unless they have like also some mental health issues like some do.
Because we live...
Is sturdy, psycho-emotionally sturdy. Don't need no faith.
In a secular society, the longer that she is living, the more years she racks up without coming under the headship of a husband, but having...
Yeah, your Western individualism. Individual is sacred in the West.
When he left the headship of...
But yeah, we're petrified of Dane independence. Yeah, you're just a weakling if you're petrified of their independence.
She is building up a longer and longer...
Yeah, she's probably, you know, not going to be as much of a characterological serf when she leaves your hellholes and moves into the city and, like, you know, she doesn't have to go as far as Cardi B. You know, she doesn't have to go far. You know, she can just, like, I don't know, learn to become a plumber, too. Yeah, there have been these chick plumbers. You know, they're usually fat.
Of a headless life.
But, you know, even a chick plumber who's fat, she's not that fat. And so her ass crack is still kind of hot.
She's declining in beauty, declining in fertility.
Yeah, and you figure it out because you have scripture.
Only really increasing in one thing, which would be insubordination. She is living, the more years she racks up without coming under the headship of a husband.
It's like layer 3 of this guy, recordings upon recordings. He's all ghostly and purplish. That suits him. Yeah, all your tradcon vibes don't do away with the purplish colors.
The Western individualism.
What do I say?
Jewel is sacred in the West.
I ridicule you because you deserve it, right? But we've established that.
Yeah, we're petrified.
But then I say something that's a little unfair. Hang on, let me
independence.
Go back.
Yeah, you're just a...
4 years she racks up without coming under the headship of a husband, but having...
Yeah, your Western individualism. Individual is sacred in the West.
When he left the headship of...
But yeah, we're petrified of Dane independence. Yeah, you're just a weakling if you're petrified of their independence.
In most cases, but like if you're out and about and, you know, you're out near a street... and you want to be petrified by a certain dame's independence.
Longer and longer
Yeah, she's probably, you know, not going to be as much of a characterological serf when she leaves your hellholes and moves into the city and like. But no avail. You're forgetting the fact that she's going to think she can do stuff that she absolutely can't. Like, you know.
License and registration, please.
It's Britney, bitch.
Drive safely. Bring it back.
You know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. This shit I'm doing.
Silver lining.
Shit I'm doing. Some of this shit I'm doing.
That's because they're too weak to let the other ones do that. Just the swearing. Yeah, you can swear, but others can't, inexplicably, but that makes you strong.
Do some of this shit I'm doing.
But I still say silver lining in the sense that I think you'd still swear, even if, like, none of your coalition liked it that you do, you'd still swear, but maybe not for the mic.
Some of this shit I'm doing.
But yeah, you're not stronger because they inexplicably like it when you swear, where they wouldn't have if it was like Reagan and Bush. That doesn't make you stronger. That just makes you and the whole country inexplicable.
Get a load of that new kid. His name is Dereg. He is subsumed in tics and all manner of issues. Yeah, and who even spells it with a G at the end anyway? Did you get a load of that new kid? His name is Dereg. He is subsumed in tics and what I must imagine must be all manner of issues. Yeah. And who even spells it with a G at the end anyway? Did you get a load of that new kid? Dereg. He is subsumed in tics and what I must imagine are undiagnosed issues. Yeah, and who even spells it with a G instead of a K at the end anyway? Let's get him. Hey, Dereg. Let's get him. I think Dereg might know how to fight. What? I mean, if we get him. I think Dereg might know how to fight. Man, what are you talking about? He is subsumed in tics and what I must assume are issues. No, man, no. Look at that disturbed, deranged look in his eye. I think Dereg has it in him to go apeshit. While Dereg might not be carrying, Dereg might have a knife or two on him. Let's keep away from Dereg. Man, the kid is beset with tics and all manner of serious issues. Let's kick his ass. Let's kick his ass. Come on, we're all Israelis here. Let's kick his ass. It's just that one new kid, man. His name is Dereg. And who even spells it with a G at the end anyway? Let's kick his ass. Let's get the IDF to help. Let's get the IDF to help. I'm from the Netanyahu cabinet. I'm here to bomb you to death. I'm from the Netanyahu cabinet. I'm here to bomb you to death. I'm from the Netanyahu cabinet. I'm here to bomb you to death. I'm from the Netanyahu cabinet. I'm here to bomb you and your children to death. I'm from the Netanyahu cabinet. I'm financed by Amero. Ho ho! I'm from the Netanyahu cabinet. I'm financed by Amero. Call them Yanks around here. We call them Yanks around here. We call them Yanks around here. And man, are they ravenous.
I'm from the Netanyahu cabinet. I'm gonna bomb you to death. I'm from the Netanyahu cabinet. I'm here to bomb you to death.
Get a load of that new kid. His name is Dereg. Our guys bombed his folks' home, so he had to move in. Yeah. We bombed his home. We bombed his home. Let's kick his ass.
Smart people don't like me. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing.
Man, look at it go.
This is what I mean. Everything about this is actually insane. Every different piece of it is so weird. We're at war. And everybody's just like, whatever. We're at war. And everybody's just like, whatever. And everybody's just like, whatever. And everybody's just like, whatever.
it's gonna be in the best interest of America. Of America. Of America. Of America. Of America. Of America. And it's gonna be in the best interest of America. Of America. Of America. Of America. Of America.
So George Orwell's going to help us understand. Coming up next, it's going to help us see why, what's actually believed, even if it's not spouted, what's actually believed, and probably spouted behind closed doors, and then unknown. Yeah, that's even worse than if someone spouts it in public. Or, it's like, it can be a toss-up.
On the surface, it was a touching demonstration of solidarity with the suffering Jews.
Yeah, it's easy to do surface-level solidarity, isn't it? Oh, solidarity on blue sky. Yeah, you want to pay my mortgage? Oh, solidarity. But hang on, this is not about
by
me.
Representatives of all the churches, and by detachments of RAF, Home Guards, nurses, Boy Scouts, and whatnot.
Yeah, they showed up in 43 to signal Jewish support, but they were all like silently anti-Semitic. Oh no, you misunderstand. I'm not an anti-Semite, I'm just anti-Jewish. Well, that's the same thing. Oh, okay, I'm an anti-Semite.
On the surface, it was a touching demonstration of solidarity with the suffering Jews. But it was essentially a
How many people are strong enough to, if they could just with the snap of their thumb, hear every bit of gossip about them, everything bad that was ever said about them, when their presence wasn't involved? Yeah, they'd be too weak for that. That's kind of back to Memory Revealer 3000. Yeah, I want the Memory Revealer 3000. I want to see what everyone says and thinks and, lies about. Because, yeah, contrary to the fun I have with music and stuff, yeah, I got no anti-Semitic skeletons in my closet. That's why I can have the kind of comfortable fun I have. I don't believe anything silently that's horrible, so I'm comfortable. LARPing. Yeah, I'm from the Netanyahu cabinet. Yeah, Israeli politics are just so awful because the population has awful political preferences because they've got to feel safe. But like any other population could be accused of the same, I think, had they been as targeted. But I'm just saying, it doesn't justify, The criticism is justified of Israeli politics and their involvement in others' politics across oceans and continents and such. But that doesn't mean Jews are a bad people. And Orwell knew a lot of anti-Semites who are like, we don't even have fun with it because it's all covert. But to see, like, I have songs, but the songs are about Israeli awfulness, not Jewish awfulness. But, surface versus behind closed doors lessons by Orwell. He got it, man. Yeah. It's what you can't cancel. That's what's dangerous. It's what you don't know exists. It's uncancelable. Because you don't know about it.
Efforts to behave decently by people whose subjective feelings must, in many cases, have been very different. That quarter of London is partly Jewish. Anti-Semitism is rife there, and, as I well knew, some of the men sitting round me in the synagogue were tinged by it. Indeed, the commander of my own platoon of Home Guards, who had been especially keen beforehand that we should make a good show at the intercession service, was an ex-member of Mosley's Black Shirts. While this division of feeling exists...
Oscar is one of the best... Read Oscar with a K, man. He's one of the best readers, but he's got to be slowed down here to about 0.8, or else he just reads too fast. But when he's slowed down, he reads awesome. It's Oscar.
Tolerance of mass violence against Jews, or what is more important, anti-Semitic legislation, are not possible in England. It is not at present possible, indeed, that anti-Semitism should become respectable, but this is less of an advantage than it might appear.
There we go.
One effect of the persecutions in Germany has been to prevent anti-Semitism from being seriously studied. In England, a brief inadequate survey was made by mass observation a year or two ago, but if there has been any other investigation of the subject, then its findings have been kept strictly secret. At the same time, there has been conscious suppression by all thoughtful people of anything likely to wound Jewish susceptibilities.
Yeah, it just all percolates, doesn't it?
After 1934, the Jew joke disappeared as though by magic from postcards, periodicals.
Didn't help spawn Candace Owens and her popularity, banning the Jew joke and, or whatever, you know, social pressuring the Jew joke out of existence. Nah, that didn't quite catch up to Candace Owens.
On the music hall stage.
And many of them.
To put an unsympathetic Jewish character into a novel or a short story came to be regarded as anti-Semitism. On the Palestine issue, too, it was de rigueur among enlightened people.
It was a different time.
To accept the Jewish case as proved and avoid examining the claims of the Arabs.
Yeah, on the Palestine thing, man, it also percolated, like next level percolated.
Decision which might be correct on its own merits, but which was adopted primarily because the Jews were in trouble, and it was felt that one must not criticize them.
I mean, they were in trouble. You could criticize them, but you got to give them some kind of a, you know, Avalon from the bombs, and they're like still, you know, think that they can kill 70,000 people now. That's how bad the apparently intergenerational trauma is they weren't given an Avalon on time, and man, they should have been.
Hitler, therefore.
They should have been, because now they're doing it to others because they're like, they don't get it. You know, ones you're doing it to aren't the ones who did it to you.
Which the press was in effect.
The ones the Jews are doing it to aren't the ones that they did it to the Jews. It's
favor of the Jews.
But if, you know, I think if the Palestinian cause can only be actualized by colluding with like fascists, you know, would they refuse to collude with fascists in order to liquidate the Jews? I don't know. I think it's just that bad now.
While in private, anti-Semitism was on the upgrade, even to some extent among sensitive and intelligent people.
Yeah, like artists. But I'm not. I really am not. I really think that it's just such a uncontroversial thing. Is the average Jew like implicated? No, you know, I don't know how to make use of finance, and sometimes it bugs me.
In 1940,
I don't want to have like a part-time job that requires me to keep up with the financial markets so I can make enough money to retire. But then it's like a whole other part-time job.
The internment of the refugees.
To understand it all.
Naturally, every thinking person felt that it was his duty to protest against the wholesale locking up of unfortunate foreigners.
Have you heard about the oil prices? Man, look at it go. You can read what they did. I don't think it needs an explanation given the timing. The Israel War Room. It's very US flavored kind of official account post, right? This is the kind of thing you would expect from a depraved US official twatter thing. But, You know, it's almost as if Israel is as depraved or worse, you know. Yeah, I'm done feeling any kind of concern for Jewish safety. Like, I'm done. Yeah, you don't get to kill 70,000+ and God knows how many from here on out because Jews need to feel safe. Yeah, you gotta toughen up, Jews, you know. What can't Israel do? I guess Israel can't, like, directly damage the US in terms of, like, aggression. Yeah, that's probably the only thing Israel can't do at this point. But even indirectly, if they damage the US, yeah, you know, US would look the other way, it seems. There's just a lot of boomers and elders who are in love with Israel like it's, whatever, 1949, need to die. And then Daddy Bucks is going to die along with them, and then you're going to wish you hadn't posted anything like this. But whatever, you know, I still care for the innocent Israelis and Jews who are appalled at this. You got to believe there's thousands of them who are appalled at this, and tens of thousands and millions when you go into the diaspora thing. You know, the Jews outside of Israel and the US probably, who are just appalled at this. But it's like, you know, like the other truly obnoxious thing. It's like, you know, Hassan gets to feel, you know, like he's been vindicated or that he was justified all along. Like, Hassan, you still aren't justified. You got your own brain worms and then some. But wow, like, what are you guys giving US twatter government officials a run for their money? You know, what the fuck? Yeah. He's milquetoast. For a Muslim, he's milquetoast. And technically, you know, he's sitting at the table with the Nazis, so ergo he too is a Nazi. So it's like, I guess that's why you're making, yeah, that's why. But you guys love Trump, so none of this makes sense. Like, none of it makes sense, like, at all, man. But hang on, I got some other stuff queued up here. In honor of International Women's Day, oh, wait, what's the thing? Hang on, let me just, no, that's the other way. I want to see the whole thing, yeah. Visually told. I shouldn't have fiddled with it. Now I can't get back to how it was. But believe me, the wait's worth it. In honor of International Women's Day, here's a fun fact about women. We literally made all of you. And then there's 3 hashtags. Because, yeah, women like slogans too, apparently. Yeah, women like slogans every bit as much as they think they can reason without them. But, you know, some women can reason without slogans. But, yes, not as many as you'd think. We literally made all of you. Yeah, but you couldn't have done it without the coom, could ya? I'm not even saying it's good. It's, you know, it's bad that men play a role, but yeah, like they think this is like a brag or something. We literally made you. We literally made you. Yeah. Yeah, did you make it so that we can get a refund if we don't like the product? No, you didn't. You didn't make that. You know, you made us, but it's not necessarily the case that we got it made. Yeah, most people who were made in squalor, penniless, and remained penniless. So what are you bragging about? Oh, Women's Day. Sure, have fun on Women's Day. Just another stupid calendar thing that tells you to be enthusiastic over something instead of letting circumstances dictate when you're going to be, you know, grateful and enthusiastic and all that. Yeah, we literally made all of you, but it's not necessarily the case that most of the ones who were made had it made. We didn't have it made, so what the fuck? Yes, it's in the title. You got it made, or do ya? Yeah. Let's do a few more. Okay, we've been there. Laura Loomer. I've been so vindicated. Every day I'm more vindicated. Now it's time to round up the Muslims before it's too late. You know, I'll say it. In a fight, like a mud wrestling fight or any kind of fight between Laura Loomer and Ilhan Omar, yeah, I'm rooting for Omar 100 times out of 100. It's like it's 98 and it's Austin versus Undertaker. I'm rooting Omar, bitch. And even before this Iran business, but like especially now. Russia has provided Iran with information so that Information that can help Tehran strike U.S. military, AP sources say. Yeah, all the people who think Trump is Krasnov are not gonna like think about it deeply now. Like, oh, Trump is Krasnov. So why did Trump strike Iran if Putin doesn't like that Trump struck Iran? It is weird that Trump never says anything nasty about Putin, like ever, like really nasty, and doesn't even really needle him. That remains weird. But still, like, you guys who think that therefore is proof that Trump is Krasnov and he's a Russian agent and it dates back to 1987 because he had business trips there and, you know, probably wanted to get pissed on by Russian hookers there. But still, man, no. It's just he wants to be him. It's what I said. It's not that he's an agent or that Russia has any dirt on him. It's that he's just enchanted by how a whole country bends their knee or is just too apathetic not to tell others to bend their knee to just a very mediocre creature. And Trump's like, oh, I too am a very mediocre creature, so I'm going to make America do that. Yeah, that's why he'll never, doesn't matter what he does apparently, and Trump won't say shit. But here, it's like, it's going to be really interesting how this whole thing turns from here on out. Right? Will he just deny it because it'll hurt? Will Trump just deny this because it'll hurt his feelings that Vlad did that? He must have seen it coming. I don't know. But yeah, people will like see this, acknowledge that it's a fact, and still go like, yeah, Trump is still Krasnov somehow and is in cahoots with the Russians. Yeah. Well, I snipped this like right after it happened, but then, Carney did kind of give some limp-wristed pushback about how it was done. So this is not as effective now as it would have been a few days ago. Yeah, it's the true flag. It's the true flag. It's the true flag. But true flag or not, don't be a flaggot.
And it's gonna be in the best interest of America. Of America. Of America. Of America. Of America. I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. Smart people don't like me. 'Cause we don't need them, but they should have been there.
Deepening concerns for millions in Cuba, caught in widespread blackouts and a U.S. blockade.
I can tell you without any hesitation, my family is starving right now in Cuba.
And the suspected meteor caught on camera streaking across the sky. We're back in 2.
I used to snort cocaine off of toilet seats.
While in the White House, we helped them. And they didn't help us. And I think that's a very bad thing for NATO. A testy U.S. petition his NATO allies declined his invitation to help
Yeah, it's just so stupid it all is.
Strait of Hormuz. I think NATO's making a very foolish mistake, and I've long said that, I wonder whether or not NATO would ever be there for us. So this was a great test. 'Cause we don't need them, but they should have been there. Even musing once again about pulling out of the alliance. Trump also took a hit from one of his own appointees. And blamed pressure from Israel for U.S. involvement.
Yeah, how does the song go? It's not too late to change your mind. Show us your courage. Yeah.
Officials
It's not too late
those
to change your mind. Show us your courage.
false and Kent as a leaker.
Heretic.
So the president
What took you so long? He did a lot of bad stuff before.
of the man
Venezuela wasn't all that illegal either.
he selected.
And the pedophile protecting.
I always thought he was weak on security, very weak on security.
Why'd you stick with him?
It's a good thing that he's out, because he said that Iran was not a threat. Just how much of a threat Iran poses still
No other president can do some of the shit that I get away with. Meh. No other president can get away with this shit.
Two more high-ranking Iranian leaders are dead. Killed.
Yeah, it's annoying that he's seen as some kind of a trailblazer in terms of, coarse language. He's not a trailblazer in terms of coarse language, but that's where, so much is stupid, middle America is like, oh, Trump the trailblazer, he uses coarse language sometimes. It's like, I'm envious of Trump in this respect.
An overnight strike,
So much worse things in the world.
says Israel.
But, slow Trump is hilarious. Don't pretend he isn't. And my God, there ain't enough orange face paint.
Nuts
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu promised there are many more surprises to come.
Don't pretend you don't love it.
Speaker, however.
Man, take a good look at that. That's not a happy posture. Because that's not a happy camper. But it doesn't matter how bad it gets. He's another one. You know, he won't find his courage, as it were. Or, you know, whatever. Enough, you know, resistance to careerist aspirations and tunnel vision. Careerist aspirations and monomaniacal agenda having. No, that's all he sees. Just tunnel vision. Monomaniacal, don't show us your courage. It doesn't matter how bad it gets, man. You know, we'll just worm his way into rationalizations. But yeah, he knows deep down, because look at that posture. It's just not a happy camper at all. You know, just tell Donald what you think, like one time. It's like, hey, Donald, you like adventuring? Yeah, you like adventuring, so I'm going to adventure on you. You know, Donald, you're just doing a really bad job, and, you know, why don't you let me give it a go? Yeah, forget JD. No one likes JD, but Donald, hey, why don't you let me give it a go? And you can go play golf. Hey, Don, you've known me for years now. I really mean it. And JD's not cut out for it. Hey, Don, why don't you let me give it a go? Look at my posture. Look how miserable I am. Don, you're not doing it well. Don, please tell MAGA to let me give it a go. I'm formulaic from A to Z. Don, you're too chaotic. Don, I'm formulaic from A to Z. I'll do right by all our Christians. You do believe that, right? Oh yeah, I guess I'm naive sometimes too.
But I'm going to tell you, it's not a promenade. There will be resistance. This is our land and we'll not give it up.
Lebanon too.
2 weeks ago took out the deputy mayor's radio station. And
They, as in Israelis, they're in Lebanon. Boots on the ground in Lebanon.
Cleared through the rubble. This was Israel's early warning to Tyre. They're bracing for more Israeli incursion into this area. It's also a hub
Give me more.
people in villages around.
Yeah, that's Israel, man. Give me more.
Coming into
Lebanon and God knows what else.
Mattresses are a hot commodity for the hundreds of thousands
And
of
they
people
get more
forced to move under Israel's
from Daddy Bank. Yeah,
evacuation
they get
orders.
more. Give me more, and they get more.
But
But hang on, what?
People forced to move under Israel's
Mattresses are hot commodities?
Mattresses are a hot commodity for the
I can sing and hear at the same time. Give me.
Mattresses are a hot commodity for the hundreds of thousands of people forced to move under Israel's evacuation orders.
It's so easy to figure out that this is all unjustified, but like people still simp for Israel. You know, Zionists and others, you know, friends of Israel. Yeah, you know, fine. Up until very recently, I would have thought myself a friend of Israel.
will know more. And it's so easy to figure out that this is all unjustified, you know?
Replaced from their homes.
Yeah. What did those people ever do?
Mattresses are a hot commodity
What?
for the hundreds of thousands of people.
Believe in the wrong God, belong to the wrong group? Yeah, that's pretty much it. You know, too sympathetic to political causes that Israelis don't like, so this is all somehow justified. Well, I don't think so.
They're forced to move under Israel's evacuation orders.
Yes.
A shelter.
It's the axis of wretched. America and Israel. It's the axis of wretched.
Former school. Move under Israel's evacuation orders.
Yeah, your orders, because you are part of the axis of wretched. Like half of the axis of wretched.
In a former school. Farah Ali Hijazi and her 5 children have moved into one room with little to do except laundry.
Oh.
They fled shelling on their home. I'm not scared for myself. I'm afraid for the kids. At night, I sleep with my hands in theirs, very close to them. What about the future for your kids? Their future is gone. The first year was Corona, the second year was war, the third year was war. At the hospital, medical staff and their families sleep here for security.
It's just a gut punch, man. It's just, can't even do jokes, just a gut punch.
Wael Murray admits his worst fear if an Israeli blockade encircles the south.
Gut punch after gut punch, and someone's got to make those Israelis account for all this. The Hague and such, so we need an international organization. You know, it's got to mean something. You know, rules have to mean something. Got to make it happen. But what can I do? Lament.
Some of this weaponry is unthinkable. You don't even want to know about it. Oh, you could end this thing in 2 seconds if you wanted to, but we are being very judicious.
Yeah, Sam's gonna cover the war.
You get just an utter stonewalling and kind of malfunctioning of the human brain. I mean, it becomes impossible to have the conversation. It just, it's just, there's a double standard etched into this pseudo morality, which is, it's like there's the utility function is here. I think see everything in terms of white supremacy and oppressor-oppressed relationships, and avoid racism at all costs, right? That's kind of the master value. And so any criticism of Islam, even of theocrats who are killing women for showing their hair, even theocrats who are performing, genital mutilation on girls, if you criticize them, you are at a minimum risking being racist. Again, that makes no sense, that claim. And certainly Islamophobic, right? So,
or anti-Semitic, or anti-Semitic.
Care about those women.
Yeah.
Your pretension to care about those girls and women is just a cover for your racism and Islamophobia. Yeah. And as a white guy, you can't be talking about this at all, anyway, right? So the conversation's over before it starts, and these are the most maddening encounters
I've
ever had in my life.
Yeah. The conversation's over before it starts. On to the next update. Man, look at it go.
Hezbollah supporters honor their dead, draped in the malicious flag. Powerful images for the brutal campaign ahead. Israelis struck Nabi Shit and landed soldiers nearby. The fight killed 41 in this village controlled by Hezbollah. Why do you stay in this town? We are people who've gotten used to war, she says. We never wished to get here, but our government sold us out.
It's a geopolitical hedonic treadmill.
But the crisis is building. Over 1 million Lebanese have been forced out of their homes
mostly from Shia communities.
لو راحت كل بيوتنا نحن ما بنقصف على الحجر.
Even if we lose all our homes, we will not mourn the rubble, she says.
فدى المقاومة.
The resistance are protecting us. We met Zano Alawiya at a shelter for families at an Islamic school in Beirut. She was handpicked to speak to us, a devout supporter. When our kid is born, his first word is Hezbollah. What do you think he will say when he when our kid is born, his first word is Hezbollah.
Oh man.
What do you think he will
That's one to crop.
Say when he grows
and cycle.
up?
Yeah, let's do it.
A devout supporter. When our kid is born, his first word is Hezbollah. Yeah. What do you think he will say when he grows up?
What the Israelis are doing, they are solving their problem.
Because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? Yeah. Some of this weaponry is unthinkable. You don't even want to know about it. Oh, you could end this thing in 2 seconds if you wanted to, but we are being very judicious.
Damn, I just got it working.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to rush more. I'm gonna have to rush this for all kinds of reasons. It's the Bertney versus Trump Deadpool, March 2026. It's the Bertney versus Trump Deadpool. Yeah, no, that Big Burger is just salacious. I don't think so. And no one should ever get excited, you know, that, oh, if Trump dies, then, you know, issues are solved. Nah, just coping. It's a cope. If Trump dies, issues are solved. Nah, y'all's is coping. Y'all's have your own drama with him, your own psychodrama. Yeah, Trump derangement is true. Some folk really is deranged by him. Not me, though. Yeah, no. They would dance and do all kinds of stuff, and they announce it proudly when he dies. They're gonna dance, and it's like, ah, you're showing you 30 ways. This is, yeah. What do I have? What is this one? Oh, there's no timeline. I'm gonna get to the bottom of the. Yeah, this one is cheating the polygraph. Sounds something more pessimistic than the title indicates. It just sounds more sinister, man. Yeah. But hang on, is Trump gonna die? Is Trump gonna die before Bertney? I haven't. Check back in with Bertney, don't you worry. Yeah, no, it's just Vic Burgers being salacious. But it's another great band. There's so many great bands. Yeah, but you know, Mike Johnson. Yeah, I'd like to see Mike Johnson in the hot seat. Not JD. Yeah, I vote for Johnson. Meet new Johnson, same as the old Johnson. Meet new Johnson, same as the old Johnson. But I'm gonna rush more. But meet new Johnson, same as the old Johnson. I need to rush more. But meet new Johnson, same as the old Johnson. I need to rush more.
I'll see you in hell.
He won. Vince let him book himself into a victory over Vince, and Vince got his head shaved because like he wasn't gonna do it. And Vince is like, yeah, I'll humiliate myself if Trump will play a character at WrestleMania for me. That's how desperate I am as Vince McMahon in 07. Yeah, Vince looked awful with that bald head too. Yeah. Well, it would have been good if he had lost and had to have his head shaved. Oy vey. Oy vey. Oy vey. But it's just the awfulness of Israeli politics. It's got nothing to do with... Oh, this is like the extended version. This is extended. You know, it's got nothing to do with Jews. Jews are A-okay. It's the Israeli politics that's bad, and he's just making it worse. I'll see you in hell.
I am.
Book to
Yeah,
speak
let's
to
do
us,
it.
a devout supporter.
يخلق بيقول حزب الله.
When our kid is born, his first word is Hezbollah. Yeah. What do you think he will say when he grows up?
What the Israelis are doing, they are solving their problem.
Am I? No, it was right. Yeah, it's Laura. You know, I usually just see the tweets and even that secondhand, but she gets around out and about. Apparently, she went to India. And yeah, so this is like Laura Loomer in non-tweet form, like in Indian meat space, Laura Loomer. And it's just wow, you know, when you're a bigger scarecrow than Bertney, when you're a bigger scarecrow than pretty much any non-homeless woman. You know, even all the women in her coalition that did the Mar-a-Lago face, it's like, yeah, you know, half of them they do the Mar-a-Lago face, and it's like they're nowhere near as scary as this. She doesn't say anything here. It's a clip. She doesn't say anything, but you know, she's the star of the clip. She's the, you know, inverted star. Yeah, you know, when you realize you've just done this badly, you made such bad choices, it's like, it's such a bad choice. Like, you just have to double down, because there's no coming back from, like, making choices this poor. This is like, you know, who did the worst? Like, Madonna level. It's like, yeah, Madonna's your spirit animal, Laura. You know, how do you feel about that? Maybe there's some kind of Kabbalah, what is that thing, that bracelet? Kabbalah, I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, spirit animal. You know, facial, Mar-a-Lago face, spirit animal. But it's not about her, it's the guy. You know, there's a guy here and he's all pissed off at her. It's the Indian guy.
Racist and Islamophobic. And I'm sorry to say that.
Hang on, from the beginning.
Racist
and
Islamophobic.
Okay, that is the beginning. The clip starts with the word racist stated strongly.
Racist and Islamophobic. And I'm sorry to say that we have Atiti Devo Bhava in this country where we welcome all, but your comments smack of anti-Indianism.
It's like the guy who just doesn't pay attention to the US like at all. And therefore this level of energy. It's like, what the fuck did you expect? Like, seriously, man? Like, you don't pay attention to the US at all? That's how surprised he is? I don't know what she said, but it's the stuff she typically says. But it's like he had no idea how bad it is in the States and in the, you know, White House states. And, you know, she's still in Donald's ear. She is.
To say that we have Atiti Devo
But then he says stupid stuff too.
Bhava in this country where we welcome all, but your comments.
What do you mean welcome all? Why would you welcome all? That's like as stupid as like loving your enemies. So I love my enemies. It's like the stupidest thing you can do is love your enemies, and there's like, you know, fake Christians who pretend they do.
Smack of anti-Indianism, worse still, Islamophobia.
So worse still than anti-Indianism is Islamophobia. You know, if you're just queasy because of their ideology, which is, you know, an Islamic ideology, that's worse than if you're queasy simply because someone's Indian. He said it.
I wonder if she like retorted that way.
Still, Islamophobia.
Yeah, like I
even
didn't.
worse, smack.
I want someone to tell me that I heard this the right way. Like this is how brainwashed some of them are in India. It's like they think that Islamophobia is worse than being anti-Indian. You know, even in the best case here, they just mean nationality, but probably more than nationality when you're anti-Indian. I just have fun with Indians because there's so many of them in Canada, and I will continue to have fun in other videos. I gotta speed this up, man. It's the 16th, and I think that Donald might do a about face on the war, and then this whole like half of this video is gonna be like, you know, it's. If he does an about face, like how does he not? He's been cornered. He's been out 4D chest by the Iranian crazies, and it's like there's no coming back. He's been cornered. Yeah, it's like the Iranians play better 5D chess than Dawn, man, and the lot of them.
Of anti-Indianism, worse still, Islamophobia, and even worse, racism, which has no place.
I guess he meant Indianism as a nationality. So he thinks it's worse to be bigoted toward a nationality than toward a religion as insane as the Islamic one. But, you know, they're kind of looking better than the Christians and the Jews right now, despite everything, despite the history, yeah. You know, Muslims are just looking better in 2026 than the other two monotheistic, Abrahamic dogma things.
Man, in today's world.
And then, like... So let's see. Yeah, it's not the worst thing to be anti-national, Indian national. Somewhat worse to be anti-Islam, and then like the worst is to be racist. But I think a lot of people think of like Indians as a kind of quasi-race ethnic thing.
So get real, man. Sorry to say that.
And she ain't no ma'am.
But that comment...
She's about as much of a ma'am as Bertney.
Unacceptable to me as an Indian and as a...
So he's Indian too. It's like the Muslims hate you, bud. It's like a lot of them won't tell you to your face, but you know, they have misgivings about you guys. They do. And it's kind of a whole drama thing at my workplace. You know, I'll get into it some other time.
World citizen.
You know, I'm stuck in the middle. It's like a bunch of Indians, a few Muslims, and it's like me stuck in the middle. There's some whites, but barely any overnight. Hang on. Oh, she did.
Real man.
She ain't no man, but she did the curry remark.
Sorry to say that, but that comments are unacceptable to me as an Indian and as a world citizen.
Yeah, you ain't no world citizen. It's just a thing that people say that sounds good, but yeah, no one's a world citizen. There's many places in the world that I wouldn't want to be a citizen of, and like most places in the world, it's like, no, I ain't no citizen of most places, man. I stay away from most of the world. Oh, a world citizen. It's like, what? Most of the world is god-awful.
Center. You then went on to say our country was built by white Europeans, not third world invaders from India. I think you should do more than just express regret. Be racist and Islamophobic.
Yeah, she's not gonna.
And I'm sorry to say that we have a racist.
Yeah, she's gonna like go back to Mar-a-Lago and like, did you see it, Don? Did you see how rattled he was because of me? Are you hard on yet, Donald? You know, lips this big for a penis as small as yours. I'll make it work. I'll find a way. Are you hard yet, Don? I made him really angry. And a lot of other progs really angry and by proxy, right? None of these progs here are gonna like, you know, point out how stupid.
Islamophobic. And I'm sorry to say that we have Atithi Dev.
None of them are gonna point out, right, that it's really stupid what he said, that like it's worse to be Islamophobic than anti-Indian. Nah, it doesn't even look like her. Yeah, the lips are better. Yeah, her lips are better than yeah. This is, yeah, I'll never understand. I'll never understand. Is it like a Bertney style TikTok, but like by Loomer? I don't know, maybe. But anyway, yeah, Don might like change his mind about the war, and I'm running late on this because it's like any other video that I'm running late on. I ain't no slave. But yeah, I read through these and like none of them pointed out that what he said was dumb. But they do point to some, you know, they point me to some good GIFs sometimes and cause me to just overload my phone with images. And everything just takes too long to do because it's like stuff like this, and it's like, oh, I gotta snip all this shit, and then everything takes too long to do. Ooh, Oscars. Ooh, Oscars so white. Not anymore. No more. Oh, Oscars so white. Yeah, do you guys get it yet? Like, you know, you probably caused this to be as bad as it is with your Oscars so white like a decade ago. But yeah, Laura Loomer is awful, and this guy is better than Laura Loomer, but man, you know. Yeah, I guess if you lived in India and you're happy to live in India, yeah, maybe the prospect of being a world citizen, it's more or less the same as it is in India. Yeah. For those just listening, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. And here I thought it was something different, like polar opposite different, but no. I've been shown the way by mainstream society again. I've been debunked, not just by mainstream society, but by the Super Bowl halftime show. It's like the most mainstream of the mainstream society, and it's just crushing me. It's telling me that I just, you know, I reach conclusions that are kind of polar opposite of reality. So, yeah, just, you can't argue with it, right? Because it's a slogan. You can't argue with slogans, not in the modern world, and expect to get anything like traction. No, you just default to one or another type of slogan, and here, it's a huge one, right? It's like the biggest slogan of all time, and the oft-repeated one, the most oft-repeated one of all time, right? Politically charged. Yeah, you know, all the people who echo it, like, yeah, they mean well, but at the same time, how do you prove it? How do you prove it? You could ask me the same thing, like, how do I prove the opposite? How do I reverse prove it? I can't. It's one of those, you know, I don't know it for a fact. I just know that it feels right to say the opposite of this. But not even the opposite, right? Because, you know, love's not even that strong to begin with. So at least, you know, they're saying hate is strong. So sometimes even the slogan gets a little bit of it right. But yeah, you know, oh, to be debunked by the Super Bowl halftime show, but yes, they mean well, so maybe I should leave them alone. Yeah, okay. I'll leave you alone for now, because the hate is the bigotry kind of hate that they're targeting, right? Yeah, it's the bigotry that's the problem. They hate the bigotry, not the hate, but they're stupid enough to keep saying hate. You know, the hate that they themselves hate, they can't admit it to themselves. But it's a paradox if you say that hate is the problem, because like, how do you not hate the hate? Or are you Buddhist? So everyone's Buddhist. Everyone's Buddhist. I can't put this in. Simp in the abstract. I'm gonna have to put this in like a crazy long delayed video called "No One Is Buddhist." Yeah. Yeah, this goes into No One Is Buddhist, but who knows whether No One Is Buddhist will ever come out. I've got a lot of other videos to get to, but yeah, stupid. In case I didn't read it out, I forget if I did. Yeah, it's a slogan that says, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. And if the slogan says so, then leave it alone. But, you know, it'd be better if they just understood. It's okay to hate things when you're hating the right things, like bigotry. And just, you know, sappy people, sappy Americana people, right? It's either ultra-depraved Americana by way of you know, this, that, and the other, you know, ice holes and such. And then if not that, they think they can combat the hate with sappiness and just prove it. Prove it. Don't just spout it. Prove it. Or at least, you know, write some essays trying to show it without proof, but just being persuasive. You know. No, it's not kids in my basement. It's, for Pete's sakes, there's a school across the street. Oh wait, no, it's the other side. I forget which side the school's at. Yeah, it's recess. I don't have time to wait for recess to end, because I gotta speed myself up.
A devout supporter,
يخلق بيقول حزب الله.
When our kid is born, his first word is Hezbollah. What do you think he will say when he grows up?
What the Israelis are doing, they are solving their problem.
Okay, let's make it official. Yeah, you know, it's more photogenic than it is pleasant in person these days. Tinseltown, it's like the fanciest part of downtown, but even that is nowhere near as fancy when you actually go, but it's still photogenic. So it's like, yeah, I'll keep it there as a memory, but it's no longer my neck of the woods anyway. But anyway, so anything that develops in the world starting now, and probably hours before now, I'm sure stuff has been breaking for hours. So let's say 6 a.m. March 19th, shall not be accounted for in this video, or else the pattern that's been happening will continue to happen henceforth. And that is, every day we'll increase the video by 15%. So we can't have it, can we? Yeah, because we gotta make other deadlines. But yeah, it's just every day, man. Every day. So no more, Deaths included.
And it's gonna be in the best interest of America.
I'd like to say something nice about MAGA, or something, I don't know, something psychologically exculpatory. The behavior has been so bad. The condoning of the unjustifiable has been so bad and so rampant and prevalent that, it's not a full absolution. It's not a full exemption of their conduct and just the typical barfy comment. But, when I think about it, they just have an instinctual psychological aversion to all things that don't involve traditional dogma. It's that group of people. There's other assemblages of peoples outside of America that are kind of near it, but if we discount the Islamists and we kind of counter in the bog standard Western traditional dogmas, they are exemplified in MAGA. I don't think any other coalition goes quite this far. Maybe those German, revanchists, yeah. What's the acronym? ADF? I think the UK one is ADL and the German one is ADF, I think. But yeah, the German one is kind of a close second to MAGA. In terms of just as a political clan, embodying all the bog standard Western traditional dogmas, right? They just pack them all in. Just about. They have their squabbles because, it's a long-standing canon. The Western traditional dogma canon, it's got a lot in it, and that's why you see the infighting that you do. So I never mean to downplay the fact that I know that, even though I'm not on Twitter, I know that MAGA does a lot of infighting. But it's all just a representation of the fact that it's a long-standing canon, and they have those underlying resentments of each other, like the Catholics of the Protestants and vice versa. I'll go on in the future about the extent to which this gender stuff is where MAGA men especially sublimate when they use the left. They're sublimating. They're annoyed at the exact same blue sky hags that I'm annoyed with. It's just they don't want to say it because they're married men. So there's all these subgroup things that they can't bring themselves to say out loud and proud the way I do. So instead they just sublimate and they come up with a character that's called the left. It's a group that organizes on the basis of all their kind of instinctually necessary, it's like oxygen, to have a body politic in a public square where all these traditional dogmas, bog standard Western traditional dogmas, are still intact. It's like they can't breathe, right? But as a result, they can't breathe under progressivism or even, I guess, even liberalism. Constitutional loving, individual rights loving liberalism, old school style, that didn't actually start in the UK. It started in continental Europe, its most nascent form. But MAGA's one thing they're showing their asses, their fat, stained, shit-stained asses, like a group has never shown before out in public in my lifetime.
They're doing that, but here, it's to some extent exculpatory psychologically because it's like they need these dogmas in public because they're so insecure about their veracity, their accuracy. So if they don't see it reaffirmed in their America, the country that's got a cool sounding name, right? That's why they say it as often as it sounds. If you're gonna name a country something, you best damn name it America. It just sounds cool to say. So like they get the cool sounding country, just the cool sounding country, like cooler than, you know, Yugoslavia or Serbia or even Russia. It's America, baby. We're badass because of how we sound. And our leader's badass. Even though we know he's as frail as a kitten, we still think of him as a strong man because he commands the Navy and the Army and, you know, the so on and so forth. That's what makes him strong. No, he preys on your stupidity. It's as simple as that. And your desperation for a savior. When Christ doesn't cut it. Yeah, that's America, 21st century, where Christ even doesn't cut it as a savior. That's one to keep and remember for a lyric. There's a lot of musical stuff coming up. But, you know, I'm spitting venom, but at the same time I am saying it's to a degree exculpatory if you buy into the premise that it's like oxygen. It's a social or a psychosocial necessity for them to have, you know, fewer or a greater amount of dogmas occupying the mental energy of the public sphere and the body politic especially. And that's what helps them rationalize away what they clearly see on video. They can rationalize it away, not just because it's team and group identity and all those reasons we've established perfectly, those of us who are long-time viewers of no avail, many of whom have abandoned ship, but that's okay. You know, I don't need the hassle. I kind of need to quell certain curiosities about whether or not I would just defeat them to the point where they wouldn't dare show up on the same stage as me, or whether that wouldn't happen. That's one of the reasons I want, you know, more acolytes, is like that's the only way to propel myself to the stage where I discover once and for all whether they would just retreat from me. You know, the way like Keith Olbermann talks about like Bill O'Reilly just retreating from him when they were at someone's either wedding or funeral. It was some kind of a big event where like even Republicans and Democrats were, something like in the 2000s. Keith Olbermann tells this story that he takes a step toward O'Reilly. O'Reilly takes an immediate step back. But O'Reilly's eyeing him like nearly nonstop, whereas Keith is just giving O'Reilly the occasional glance. They're like, whatever, I forget how many feet apart, something like 50 or 40 feet apart. And I'm just really curious about myself because I got these guys pegged. These guys are weenies and munchkins. Their rhetoric is bog standard. I can corner them, I can hook them up and down, left and right. I can do it. I just need to be propelled to the stage. And since it's never happened for me, I'm just curious if just the nature of the stage would cause a different outcome. That's what I'm curious about. Because I've never done the stage. With, you know, the internet, I've never done the stage. Where it's like they can clip one bad moment and then you're toast no matter how well the rest of the debate went for you. So I wonder if I would like crack under those conditions. Against someone like J.D. Vance. You know, as much of a political operant as he is in debates and in everything he says, and at this point, in probably everything he thinks too, as much of a political operant as he is, like he still knows what to say more often than the typical MAGA drone. He still kind of knows what to say and to sound composed enough. So above anyone else in that world, I'd love to, hey JD, if you're listening, just a man to man, we can have a friendly chat. You know, I don't have any acolytes, so you're probably not gonna do it. You know, but I'm willing to do it. And yeah, I want to see if I can make you crack in front of the world if I just have you long enough. No mediators. You know, we can interrupt each other. If you just insist, if you like just for 30 seconds straight keep talking over me, then I'll stop and I'll listen to you. But the next time we both find ourselves talking for like 30 seconds straight at each other, you yield and I continue. Those are the only rules we need. We don't need a mediator. You know, my charge is, 21st century America is the America where even Christ don't cut it as a savior. Because you peoples are very small and very needy and very paranoid. Conspiracy adult peoples, you always were. It's the paranoid style. Listen to Graffin, man. It's off their last record. Age of Unreason. Boy, how prescient Bad Religion's last record, Age of Unreason, has turned out to be. This is 2019, and I was listening to this, and I'm like, come on, guys. It's not that different these times. It's a great record musically, but they even use Marxian. They use proletarian and bourgeoisie. At one point, it's like BR has never done that. Like, what's going on? I don't want BR to be leftist. But anyway, yeah. Y'all's live these pampered, luxurious lives for the most part, especially speaking historically. God, how luxurious from any kind of, even 1950s and before, comparative metric. You all live such bougie, comfy, luxurious lives. SUVs selling like hotcakes, even in economic crises. You're 38 trillion plus in debt. That's trillion with a T. And you're letting fraudster do all this crap. Why? Because you need a savior. And you can't breathe under leftism, but even under fucking liberalism that protects individual liberties better than any other system that's its competitor, henceforth shown in practice. You're willing to give that up? Was it really all talk? Was it really all talk for all of you? I'll tell you what, Scott Adams just passed away. I don't think it was all talk for Scott Adams. R.I.P. Scott Adams. There's more coffee segments that I recorded in late 2025, tributes to Scott Adams, where I say, this is a tribute to Scott Adams, and then I say something about no avail, and it sounds like I'm saying this is a tribute to no avail. So this is a front loading of a correction from an audio that I'll use in some other video. I'm gonna have to make this a standalone, aren't I? What is this? This is over 10. I'm past due for a short, to the point, kind of big challenge video. You'd have to be a psychopath to think that the me of 2019 has every bit as reason to be reserved about my favorite band turning potentially leftist with some of their lyrics. Because they conflate reality for their paranoia. No, BR wasn't paranoid. BR just saw further than me in 2019. But the tragedy is they're to some extent exempt. Because like when someone tries to tell me that I should feel guilty for sneezing, let's say it's a moment of silence or something, it's November 11th, and you sneeze, and you feel bad about it, but when someone else is like, it's like, I sneezed, it didn't happen, it's a good comparison. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna be extremely disputatious at best toward them, and in the worst cases, I'll justify their death. Because they're a political stereotype somehow. Because they collided with a masked ice chud. I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, I would certainly be disputatious if someone gave me a kind of mean glare because I sneezed at an inopportune moment. And I think MAGA, especially on the trans stuff, it's fever pitch. Progs went too far, too fast. And it broke them. It was among the things that broke them. It was among the stuff that kind of caused who's a good example? There have been these people who jumped ship later. I guess J.D. Vance. But I don't think it was transgenderism with him initially. He just wants presidential powers that bad. But yeah, I'd debate a lot of them. Anyone except Dan Bongino. He's been disgraced enough. God, I think if they heard everything I said about them, and they compared me to they had to pick between me and Dan Bongino, like who to egg in perpetuity. I think at this point they would just egg in perpetuity Dan Bongino. Like they would spare me. That's how much they've turned on this guy. So they also have a propensity to turn on each other. A lot of what Wilhelm said about fascism is true. Don't mean to cast aspersions on that with this. Here is just, a unique American blend of just an inability to breathe without these intellectually indefensible traditional dogmas. Is having anything to do with accuracy, accurate descriptions of reality. No. It's just you can't give up what mom and dad told you to think. You just can't. You just love mom and dad too much. You love ma and pa. And the forces of progressivism say ma and pa were all your extended relatives that you love were wrong. And the narrower of a world you live in, conceptually, mentally, the narrower of a world you live in, the more that stings. I'm sorry that I'm the one who has to relay it to you specifically the way it is. When the forces of change rain down on your loved ones and everything they told you to hold dear in those precious early childhood years, when those forces try to tell some of your most loving years where you received unconditional love from your parents who were deeply deluded people, I'm sorry. Yeah, when those forces rain down on you and your psyche, you're gonna feel like it's impossible to breathe, and you're gonna strike back and you're gonna use any means necessary. Just as I would be disputatious with someone who wanted to take umbrage with me if I sneezed at a really inopportune moment and disrespected someone's whatever final moment. It didn't happen. I'm just saying. It can easily happen. Just sneeze or fart or belch. Belch would actually be the best, yes, because that's voluntary, kinda, most of the time. I love my belches. But one of the dogmas, of the sick society, as Wilhelm recognizes it to be, is that, you're supposed to view yourself as like a non-organism. You're supposed to view yourself as this saintly thing, this soul thing, this spirit. You're a person, yeah, okay. Personhood is important, but also sainthood. You have a sainthood when you die, so don't go around burping, because that just reminds us that we're actually organisms as well. We're beings of various different types, of various different shades. Some would say we are primarily organisms. I think it's an arguable point. Could be just as true as we are primarily persons, or at least our individuality. Shop says we're all the will, and it's all the same in the noumenal, but this is just the representational, phenomenal realm, so we have these individualities, and MAGA wants us to think like we're non-organisms, because that's how desperate they are to preserve their traditional notions, because their parents really loved them when they imbued them with those notions, and they associate the very notions with their parental unconditional love. Oh, how they need love. Yeah. If you put people of the world in a bucket where they either love or hate America and you can't grasp anything else, yeah, you're what I'm describing, buddy or gal. You're what I'm describing. Your love for America, is your need for that unconditional love that you received from those flag-waving flaggots who are your parents. But whatever, Scott Adams saw enough in you guys or something, or wanted to milk you for all you're worth. And Scott Adams just died, so I'm feeling generous. I'm feeling exculpatory, so I'll say, a lot of progressives as individuals truly are detestable, almost as detestable as you find them to be. But their policies are nowhere near as bad. It's just their policies are going to challenge and ultimately reform out of existence your precious traditional dogmas. But just as a man now, I'm telling you to be emotionally sturdier and to give yourself a gut punch. Yeah, you give yourself a gut punch and you think all those dogmas away. If you're a real man about it, whatever. Even Megyn Kelly, you want to be a real man about, your ability to think clearly? Yeah, you do away with your precious dogmas. You don't have to suck any kind of progressive cock, Megyn Kelly, once you do away with traditional dogmas. You can be how I am. You know, based and reserved. You know, it's because I actually had ideology before I had a political ideology. So I see how narrow all your conceptions are. It's such a small, puny, little tiny world. It's this puny is Megan's little figure. Is the world they live in. Oh, man. Yeah, I need to be on stage. I would shred them from A to Z. I so need to be on stage. Especially when I puff. I need to be on stage with these assholes. Yeah, their world is as thin, as small, as puny as Megan's little, and I guess gnomes. You know, it's these little things. Megan's tall, but, you know, I guess gnome's kind of tall too, but there's other ones who are like just these little things. I like the little Indian things who are contributing to the Indianification of Canada. There, some bait. There's some sweets after the meat and veggie for the MAGAs. Yeah, it's the Indianification of Canada where we have these little things who are like 5-0, and it's like they don't even get it. If they have a son and they don't have it with an extremely tall man, their son is doomed. You know, just Indian. There's like more Indian little women things than like the white dames. It's like they just have no awareness of the fact that like they want children, and they just have no awareness that it better damn well be with a very tall man. Because if they have a son, their son's gonna be doomed. Because height is heritable. You know, they say you shrink. They say you shrink with age. In terms of your height, I can't afford to shrink. I can't afford to not be 5'10". No. I can't afford to shrink. I've got too much of a bloated ego to do that. So anyway, yeah, that was a little sweets for the MAGA. I insulted the Indians. I won't insult any other groups, not anytime soon. There's also a mea culpa coming on the Indianification of Canada birthday rant. I don't want the Indians retconned. I said in that audio I want them retconned from Canada. No. I do think that it was unwise to have this many of them. I just want fewer of them. You know. The women seem to be fitting in better than the men. The women seem to be fitting into Canada better than the men. But that's also kind of true with society at large across the world. And just with the world, because they have wombs. And the world itself and existence itself is kind of like a womb, right? The will, like if the will corresponds to anything the most in this existence, it's the womb. Yeah. Collapse the ray into youth, unconscious of the womb's quest. That's a lyric that existed already. Wait till you hear it. But yeah, the will corresponds to, of all the organs, you know, it can correspond to. It's very concomitant with the brain. You know, it needs two brains to be active in the world, for the womb to be wommed into, inseminated, and for there to be more peoples. But womb also only knows egoic backtalk. And so that's why I think very often when MAGA, especially the MAGA men, who can't quite reach deep enough to understand their enmity for the left, is often just enmity for these blue sky type hags and these other progressive women who just demand so much and who think men ruined all this and who think that fragile masculinity is far more true than fragile femininity. Like they're that deluded. They think like men are more fragile than women. It's I don't know what world they're living in, but it sure makes them contemptible. But it doesn't matter what I say, because womb only knows egoic backtalk. And womb's full of will. It often gets filled with coom, but in the meantime, it's full of will. And it doesn't have quite as concomitant a relationship with the brain as I think the average man does. Yeah. Average man's got more of a grip on his pelvis than the average woman has on her womb. The average woman is still very much in denial about the nature of romance. It's only now that we're finding that because the internet exists, that people are actually willing to be honest about their deep-seated, heartfelt mistrust, distrust, and worse, and hatred of the opposite sex, but broadly just mistrust and kind of framing it as a conflict theory. You know, men and women having to coexist in this world, that's one of your foundational conflict theories. And I would have thought I'm the only one in the world crazy enough to even barely faintly consider it before I started going online, and especially before I started frequenting whatever, you know, manospherean Reddit subreddits or feminazi gynocentric. Now they've taken it for the most part. It's far more gynocrats than chuds on Reddit. But yeah, if it hadn't been for these spaces, I would have thought I was like just probably a crazy person who has something profoundly wrong with him. To have like one of my instinctual psychological aversions was to puberty itself. Everything that was happening prior to it was brilliant and glorious, and the process itself and the, you know, noticing of the hard-ons and shit like that, it was just, it's like, I don't need any of this. I want to be a thinking being, not a pelvic being, you know? And so of course there's going to be a conflict theory, but like women are as gullible to this day to think like there's nothing wrong with romance as such. There's nothing wrong with our extreme fabrications, constructions of reality by using terms like Prince Charming. Like they must know how men are with their male friends. And then they see that same man transform and they think it's something other than a performance. They think he is. One of his core tenets to his personality is to be Prince Charming for her. No. Men want to squeeze tits and ass. For some, that's enough. Other men, it's really important for them to do the pelvic thing full throttle. But with some men, it's just enough to squeeze tits and ass. But like for most men, they want, you know, to one or another degree. They want to do that. So they'll pretend to be Prince Charming, but y'all's are so dim-witted. You can't figure out that the way he is with his friends is a lot closer to just how he is than when he's buying bouquets and candlelight dinners and smiley and laughing at your extremely unfunny, lame attempts at humor. I guess some women, I felt that some women were funnier than me like 20 years ago and maybe even 15 years ago. And now I just look at everything Sarah Silverman has ever done. And I'm like, you know, it's talent. I'm not going to say it's not talent, but the editorial decisions during the woke craze, the editorial decisions, man, it's another hack. And so too with Amy Schumer, was it? The one who grew, yeah, Amy grew. Yeah, I get to say Amy grew. You know why? You know, Amy as the whale. You know why? Because it's what happened. This gets you excommunicated. So MAGA men, you know, I really have a lot of contempt for how you are. But like, I get it to some extent, and I especially get it on the gender stuff. They're truly unbearable and unable to meet challenges and thin-skinned. It's not entirely their fault either. They didn't choose to have wombs. It's the womb that discombobulates their mind. They can't see that everything about their lives is sculpted to be a womb's quest. And they sublimate a lot too. They think they want their careers because they want to be career women. They think, you know, the supermom thing is, you know, there's careerism, but careerism is only a part of a complete breakfast. No, I'll be the supermom. It's like, no, you're not. You're just going to half-ass everything. Look at how many broken children came from this, you know, millennial wave, supermom, or I guess Gen X wave, maybe too, to some extent, you know, supermom dogma. Yeah, just a lot of children who neither of their parents really looked into them as much as they should have, because they had too many other things on the go, because they were egotistical, because they needed to mask the fact that at the end of the day, what pulls you the most is womb has a quest. It's a singular quest. You know, it's not your fault you're the way they are. Just like it's not men's fault. They want, you know, they want prime pussy. You know, whatever, 21 and over. And not a day before, right? Yes, men want prime pussy 21 and over, and not a minute before that 21st birthday. Yes, honey. Yes, sweet dear child, sweet summer child. You keep telling yourself that your hubby truly means that. Just like he truly wants to play Prince Charming for you. Just like he truly enjoys a candlelight dinner. I'm not seeing gays have these candlelight dinners. You ever wonder why that is? No. You know, gays just kind of do it and get it over with. Yeah. Gays don't have to be, gay men I mean here. Gay men, homosexuals. There's nothing wrong with it, as Seinfeld taught us. Homosexuals, they just want to do it and get it over with. They're more grounded in reality. Like, and even lesbians.
Everything about this is actually insane.
You know?
Every different piece of it is so weird. We're at war.
I'm just thinking of Sarah Longwell now because I mentioned lesbians. She has a kid. She and her partner have a kid, and she's a lesbian. Even the freaking homosexuals natal, right? It's like they can design it so that they can natal. They don't have to adopt necessarily, right? Even the gays and the lesbians can natal, like halfway. You know, it's the lesbians especially, you know, they both have the womb. I guess both men have the coom. But yeah, it's more, you're more pregnant in the lesbian relationship than you are in the homosexual male relationship where the two guys get the kid after the birth. You're more pregnant as a party of two, in that lesbian relationship where one of the women has the male coom in her, but then the two women will be the mommy and daddy or something, right? There's more pregnancy there. The world is more pregnant. You know, the world that's about to come into existence even is more pregnant than the converse with the two guys. But that's another thing the MAGAs can't handle. A couple of guys raising, you know, a kid. It's only the tripartite factor, you know, the mommy-daddy child. If you don't have that, you're going to raise a sick society that's going to want a transgender. But no, see, there were just a lot more closet cases before. In your golden era of the family. You know, this is what they took from you. God, you get a lot of these memes. This is what they took from you. And it's like a guy with, like, how did Scott Alexander put it? It's like, yeah, I guess they made, like, it's some guy from 1959 in the image, and Scott Alexander is reviewing it, and he goes, yeah, they made hair gel illegal in 1959, and they made it illegal also to marry a white woman. They took this from you. Oh, this is the single most, what is it? The single most thing that the left finds unbearable, and it's a picture of a happy family. And I'm like, God, even Wacky Tobacco wasn't this over the top in their masking of the lowlights of their, you know, practices. Remember Wacky Tobacco? Like, they were forced to put on the skull and bones on the thing. It's like, yeah, okay, have at it, but also it may end up like this. They had to be forced to put a little warning label. So I guess, you know, if Progs win ultimately, then that same picture of the happy family would come with a warning label. So it could turn out horribly. It has for my, you know, younger half-brother. And, you know, Pops especially. I'll say more about that in the future. You know, he's still kicking, but, you know, rehab stint to rehab stint. My father's a family man, see? Has his values. Nothing can go wrong if you're a family man who loves his wife and children and has traditional proper values. No, a lot can go wrong. So they need to put those labels on these propaganda. Oh, look what the left wants to destroy. And it's a picture of like all smiley, glowy family. It's like, God, at least in the, what is it, in those drug, when they pimp these drug ads, late night American TV, and they run down the list of the side effects really quickly, and it's like really small, tiny print, but they're so slow when they talk about how, you know, it's all those people who meet their physician or their whatever, whoever's the specialist who's helping them out, and then they, you know, take the thing and it's like, yeah, I can get hard now. And it's super happy. Oh, okay, I can get hard now. And then they run down those side effects. Even that's less propagandistic than what these fucking tradcons do when they pimp the family as a thing that's like all good, no downside. And thereby show themselves to be absolute doofuses. Oh man, 30s. 33 minutes. I am I'm going to have to make another new video. Sure. I'm going to go stable on the graphics because I just don't have time. I don't have time. But yeah, man, what a freaking observation, you know? Because that's like the go-to thing. It's these psychic drug, over-the-counter things. You know, even for real issues like insomnia, but then it's like they list these side effects so quickly, and you snooze and you miss them. Oh, you sneeze inadvertently and you miss them. And it's like, that's still less heinous in terms of its dishonesty than these freaking trad concepts like, oh, this picture embodies everything that the left can't stand. Yeah, because that picture is not the full story. And also, it's not the left. There's hundreds of millions of leftists across the world who are family people, you fucking morons. You know, if only there was a group called the left that was anti-familial. God, South Park has to do an episode where they just spoof them by coming up with a new character, and their first name is their last name is the left. The left. And then like the left goes on trial because it's like MAGA is still in power, as they might very well be by the time South Park does one such episode. Right? They need to, so mark it down. Mark it down. Today is January the 13th, 2026. I am predicting that South Park just might, if they think as creatively as me, they just might come up with a character whose first name is last name is left. So when MAGAs repeatedly refer to the left, they're actually being accurate and precise because it's like a guy. And then there's a whole courtroom scene and the guy is, you know, trying to defend himself. But they would still refer to the guy as they, the way they do, you know, the left, they did this, they did that, the left, because they respect the guy's pronouns. And even though it's a guy, his pronouns are them, they, them. Yeah, his pronouns are they, them. Yeah, man, I could do so many fun scenes. They, them. So, you know, when they say they, they're accurate.
Where's the booze? Is this the one where you can see the booze? Was it another classy, not Aszsy, or was it Aszsy? I think it got Aszsy more so than classy at the end. Yeah, it's gonna get. It got Aszsy. Oh. Love his hates. Yeah, perfect. Love his hates. The House of Strangers, man. Nebraska. Or it's a mix, I don't know. Love his hates, but more like lust is hate, and you know, lust paved whoever, you know, contracted whatever they contracted from this lust. Lust paved Derek's downfall. Yeah.
CHP officers have located the BMW near Westlake Boulevard and initiated an enforcement stop. The driver exited US 101 at Westlake Boulevard in Westlake Village.
Psst. The driver is Bertney.
Pulled to the right shoulder. The solo occupant, Mrs. Spears, showed signs of impairment and submitted to a series of field sobriety tests.
Yeah, where she was found to be not that innocent.
This was subsequently arrested for a violation of California Vehicle Code Section 20.
Yeah, they do a lot of those.
152G.
Reddit, it's even like their signatures more so than punchlines, you know. Yeah, it's like the LARPing, you know, they LARP as the ones who defend her. It's, you know, not halfway bad LARPing.
Of a combination of drugs and alcohol.
Oh, you don't say. You don't say.
This incident is still under investigation. Chemical tests are still pending.
Yeah, I just don't get it. You know, you can even have your chauffeurs. You can order your whatever you need. You can have like DoorDash, and it's not even that pricey for you to tip them the way it is for others. It's not like it hurts you, and she still insists on driving. I guess some fans are insane and think that, you know, yeah. All manner of excuses. Yeah, same. It's keeping me. Bertney drove last year too. Like last October, it was all erratic. Yeah, this ain't Bertney's first rodeo.
Oh my god.
It's like her 20th, I think, and I think the 20th is the charm, right? Yeah, 20th time's the charm. You're gonna get some consequences. What is she doing? Is she eating or is she biting her nails? Yeah, more people bite their nails these days, I'm noticing, like just at work. It's like a lot of nail biters. It's like, what are you, conspiracy tards worried about, like World War III? Nail biters. I used to bite my nails too back in the day, but then I stopped for the most part. Oh, where's the erratic Bertney? That's not erratic. Come on. I paid to see a circus. I paid to see someone who's not so innocent and who has, at this point, at least a few months left on the outside. Well, she'll be outside. It's just she's going to be mostly homebound. Yeah, that's erratic enough, I would say, for Bertney. Why couldn't you learn your lesson, Bertney, the 19th time you did it? Why couldn't you learn your lesson? Why did it have to be a big breakdown? Yeah. Who knows? Maybe it's not done. Maybe there'll be a 21st time, right? 21? It's like a gambling number. Yeah, 21's a gambling number. Watch, there'll be a 21st rodeo. There'll be a 21st Bertney. She just might hurt herself or someone else. It's really bad, but you know, you can't conserve her. No, she's gonna want to conserve herself. You can't conserve that which doesn't want to be conserved. And do the fam want to step in? Do Preston and Sean? Or have they had their fill? Yeah, I think Preston and Sean have had their fill, but, you know, she's gonna release a sympathy statement. I just want to love my boys. That's all I want to do. Apart from upload my skanky dancing. Yeah, I really want to skanky dance, first of all, and then I want to be a mom after that, but those damn bastards, they just won't let me. Won't let mommy be skanky. Well, if mommy can't be skanky without the son's bitching, mommy's gonna drive drunk and erratic and all manner of erratic. Oh, yeah, let's see. Oh, it's not even James. It's LBC and it's not James.
It's not satire, this is real. Well, yeah, you know, he's a frat guy. What you think is satire is not when you're dealing with a frat guy who's like, you know, got way more power than he should and, you know, way more power than I ever will. And it sucks because, yeah, I came out of the power closet. And now I'm just reminding the viewers who didn't watch Simp in the Abstract, I come out of the power closet. Or was it in Venezuela? The Venezuela? Cause I forget when I came out of the power closet, but I'm glad I did it. But yeah, dystopian satire. White House called out for Iran propaganda video. I'm sure there's much more to come.
And it's gonna be in the best interest of America.
Again?
What is happening now? Have assumptions been exposed to analytical tools or external challenge? Donald Trump wouldn't know an analytical tool if it sat on his head.
What are some of these other things? I had them in mind before I ranted about all this. You know, like Bertney now has these gaps in her teeth, but especially up front. And it's like they're all negging Bertney. It's like that wouldn't have been common back in the day. And I think also if you look at the shows, it's like, you know, you had like the gap-toothed actors who like had much bigger gaps in their front teeth than Bertney now has because she doesn't have her retainer in or whatever that is. You know, you know, maybe she flossed too hard. I didn't even do this like once, notionally. Maybe she flossed too hard. That's why Bertney has these, you know, thin gaps that she didn't. She totally didn't. She had like the perfect teeth at 17. As her.
Oh wait, no, don't do the perfect teeth at 17, because then you're simp post-abstract.
You know, critics even on Reddit.
Yeah, hang on, what is
this? You know, thin gaps that she did. She totally did.
Yeah, but hang on, before.
Once.
Let's hear it again.
You know.
That's how much I like my impromptu outside ranty thing. It's just, you know, I just keep them coming.
Maybe she flossed too hard. I didn't even do this like once.
That's what happens when you just talk a lot outside and yell a lot outside. Is this you know, you're better than the stand-up, official stand-up guys.
Notionally, maybe she flossed too hard.
Yeah, man. It's like
that's why Bertney has these, you know, thin gaps that she didn't. She totally didn't. She had like the perfect teeth at 17.
Yeah, so this whole audio is too long for this video, but you know, one of these weeks. But yeah, it's like people wonder, like, you know, why do you even care that no one's watching? How can I be phlegmatic on the fact that no one's watching? It's like you should just get a load of this, man.
As her, you know, critics even on Reddit note, but they're so rough on her on this kind of gap stuff. And I'm thinking, like you know, you would see even actors.
Yeah, I'm glad Bertney has those gaps because then, you know, I make gold with it impromptu.
TV shows back in the day, they would have the gap,
yeah.
Especially like, you know, a black actor.
Okay, let's not get in trouble until a few weeks from now. Then I'll get in trouble.
Which leads us to the front page of the ugly sisters of British print journalism, the front page of the Daily Telegraph, enormous letters. Starmer is no Churchill. Next time Donald Trump says nice things about Starmer, how prominent do you think their coverage will be? And then, of course, the Daily Mail.
Don't feel too bad about it.
Which I kind of wrote the book of right-wing madness that is increasingly unpatriotic and reminds us that newspapers like this were supporting Adolf Hitler right up to the moment that he invaded Poland. A prime minister who Trump mocks as no Churchill and the Navy fleet...
That's a shitty paper.
...stranded in port. Whose side do you think they're on? The British side or the...
Wait, what?
Patriotic and reminds us that newspapers like this were supporting Adolf Hitler right up to the moment that he invaded Poland. A prime minister who Trump mocked as no Churchill and a Navy fleet stranded in port. Whose side do you think they're on? The British side or the foreign side? Where's our sovereignty? Why aren't they cheering a prime minister for standing up?
Yank sycophants.
For British interests and the rule of law and viable thought-through plans before you go to war. It's incredible, right? We don't know how to do it. These are, wants respectable newspapers. Even the Times that goes with PM is no Churchill, says Trump, as tensions rise. So that is not celebrated.
I don't feel too bad about it.
In the way that
we all know it's true, right?
Telegraph front pages. They are not cheering on.
I mean, who actually thinks it's not true?
Foreign leader who wishes us harm.
The problem is not that, what they said is false. No, it's true. Care ain't no Churchill. But at the same time, who cares? Don't feel too bad about it.
But the Mail and the Telegraph are. They are cheering on a foreign leader who wishes our system of democracy harm, who rides roughshod.
That part is true.
Over the rule of law. Who
Wait, what?
Harm. But the Mail and the Telegraph are. They are cheering on a foreign leader who wishes our system of democracy harm, who rides roughshod over the rule of law, who rides roughshod.
Donald ran roughshod with gang.
Over international and domestic.
Donald partook in prison break.
Law, remember, he's a multiple felon, a multiple bankrupt, a self-confessed sex offender, and yet these newspapers...
Donald ran roughshod as felon.
That would once have seen themselves as bastions of law and order and family values and respectability are falling over themselves to disappear up his fundament in a sort of sycophantic display. And it leaves Keir Starmer today in a most extraordinary position, because I truly believe that this is the best thing that could have happened to Keir Starmer.
Donald partook in pussy grab.
With the caveat, because now, in case you haven't noticed, and you probably have, I am now falling in headlong into the trap that I've just described. Do you see? I'm falling headlong into the trap of treating Trump's latest announcement with respect and gravity. Donald Trump has announced, during a succession of half-truths and blatant lies regarding everything from the Chagos Islands to windmills and Shakira or Sharia law, I think he got
Donald would get anything by sass.
Right, the well from which he's been drinking.
Derek would get anything by sass.
His understanding of Sharia law in this country is the same well from which a friendly neighbourhood racist writing about Shakira law on Twitter has been drinking. In this conference, in this moment, slagged off Keir Starmer by saying that he was no Winston Churchill. I mean, if I were Will Smith, I would suggest that Donald Trump should get the name of our wartime leader out of his mouth. But I'm not, so I won't. I will, however, point out that this is the sound of me falling in some ways into exactly the same trap that I've just been describing to you, while acknowledging throughout that I'm part of the problem, because how else do you do it? That's not the phoning. How else do you do it? He's the President of the United States of America. He's not Judge Dredd, but it's similar. Judge Dredd's word was law. Donald Trump's words are news, and they are big news. So you have the Secretary of State for Defence in the United Kingdom accusing Russia of being complicit in attacks across the Gulf, including attacks upon British and, of course, American soldiers, American personnel. And in the same news bulletin, in the same breath, in the same news cycle, in the same paragraph of current affairs, you have Donald Trump relaxing sanctions on Russia in order to try to keep the price of oil down that is rocketing entirely and exclusively because of his actions in the Middle East. So if you were to paraphrase that, and I want to be absolutely clear about something at this point, I don't understand this bit, but I also do. So I understand why they are relaxing sanctions on Russia, because they are prioritising the price of oil over continuing to penalise Vladimir Putin over the illegal invasion of Ukraine.
Which they don't condemn in the first place, so why didn't they lift those or relax those sanctions over a year ago? So those lingering questions too, like why now?
I also don't understand.
It's just such bad timing.
I can be able to say without any fear of Ukraine. But I also don't understand how I can be able to say without any fear of inaccuracy or exaggeration the sentence that I am about to say. Vladimir Putin is helping Iran attack Americans, and Donald Trump is helping Vladimir Putin. I can't drop Americans to America.
I think James is asking me to slow him down, because this one warrants it. Yeah, let's do James at 7.5.
Can we?
Yeah.
So, Vladimir Putin stands accused of helping Iran attack the United States.
Nice and slow for the MAGAs at the back of the bus.
And let's try again. Vladimir Putin stands accused by the British Secretary of State for Defence of helping Iran attack Donald Trump's United States.
Which is stupid on Vlad's part. God. He's playing it so risky because he sees just how stupid they are. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to play it riskier. Like, you can drop Iran like a bad habit. Even the gas station is not going to be that hurt by one less ally in the way of Iran.
Unless there's a whole lot of stuff between Iran and Russia, a whole lot of footsie that I don't know about.
Well, Donald Trump's United States is really... By saying that he was no Winston Churchill. I mean, if I were Will Smith, I would suggest that Donald Trump should get the name of our wartime leader out of his mouth.
James, but hang on, James.
In this moment, slagged off Keir Starmer by saying that he was no Winston Churchill. I mean, if I were...
What's this lineup? I'm going to explain this lineup momentarily.
Will Smith, I would suggest that Donald Trump should get the name of our wartime leader out of his mouth.
Now, this is a story all about Al.
But I'm not, so I won't.
Get it? Because Will Smith almost got the shit kicked out of him in that fight. So it's like, now, this is a story all about Al.
I will, however, point out that this is the sound of me falling in some ways into exactly the same trap that I've just been describing to you, while acknowledging throughout that I'm part of the problem, because how else do you do it? That's not the phone. How else do you do it?
Yeah, so James struggles with that because he's employed to do that, so he struggles with it. Some aren't employed to do that, so they don't struggle as much with it. With what?
The President of the United States of America.
Yeah, like if your job is to do the news and there's a president and he's all kinds of powerful, but it's just Groundhog Day, you know, so you don't want to do the stupid Groundhog Day, but you gotta because that's what they pay you to do. And you gotta do it with a certain gravitas. Yeah, so it's a tough spot you're in. But others aren't.
You know, he's not Judge Dredd, but it's similar. Judge Dredd's word was law. Yeah. Donald Trump's words are news, and they are big news.
Or are they? Yeah, they may have been once upon a time, but thank goodness that's over. And then... yeah, so once upon a time, I wouldn't even explain the 6-7 symbolism, but, you know, you gotta explain these things, because, I don't know, I think even the educated viewers wouldn't get it. You know, it's just how apparently idiosyncratic I am, but that's okay. Yeah.
So you have the Secretary of State...
We'll leave it blank for emphasis, but, you know, it's really artful, man.
Word was law.
Yeah.
Donald Trump's words are news.
Or are they?
And they are big news.
Yeah, when you're employed to make it so.
News.
Yeah, but for some others, that's not the case. Although I guess the joke doesn't make perfect sense because it's not over in the sense that I was never paid to make him the news. But roll with it because it's a fun excuse to use 6-7. Yeah, 6-7.
So you have the Secretary...
I can't wait for Halloween so I can bring the jack-o'-lanterns back for the 6-7. Yeah, this is...
Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay, why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay, right? You know. Right? Yes.
This is the pre-track, clickety-clack. Yeah, it's how the record starts. Fear of a Blank Planet, man. But this is the instrumental. So, man, scary, good. I gotta level it out a bit. Yeah, gotta stay level. You know what the fatal flaw with democracy is? You know, however pluralistic and tolerant, you know what the fatal flaw of democracy is that's never really taken on the chin? And these defenders don't even try to, like, defend intellectually in some kind of, you know, political philosophy way. You know what the fatal flaw of democracy is? It's that whatever comes with the wind, you gotta tolerate to some extent, as we are seeing. This is the fruit of democracy proper. Yeah. This is the fruit of democracy in idiocracy proper. You know what the fatal flaw of democracy is you gotta roll with whatever the wind blows, no matter how depraved and unconstitutional. Unless you want a war, unless you want even more bloodshed domestically, you gotta roll with whatever the voters want and whatever the wind blows, whatever their wandering wishes and fantasies and paranoid delusions desire, from decade to decade.
Anyone care to know what the fatal flaw of democracy is?
Decade to decade. One form of ill-conceived choice after another, but perfectly legal and democratic, and you just roll with it because you're a pluralist and you're tolerant. But you know what the fatal flaw is that, well, there's no end to the depths of the bottomless pit of depravity that voters are capable of. And so you just roll with it, lest you be among the undemocratic. But truth be told, it's more about applying those liberal principles consistently, even though a lot of illiberals want to make it really hard. Sometimes it seems that that's all that motivates them. They want to turn you illiberal as well, because there's no other way to fight them. You know, but still, at the end of the day, there's a lot of pull by way of democracy and majoritarian power. But it doesn't matter that the coalition is shrinking and in disarray. You know, he's still legally the Prez and will continue to be. He's still legally the Prez and will continue to be, while Tyrann burns in effigy as well, and all manner of AI slop, while Tyrann literally burns in effigy too, amidst all the AI slop that's caused by folks like Elon. Yeah. That's the fatal flaw of democracy, is that you gotta roll with whatever the wind blows, wherever their wandering wishes aim, and the paranoias and personal inadequacies taken out in the public square and social media. And all these people just crowd out the true-based commentary, and that's okay. Who needs the trouble? Who needs the trouble anyway? It's not like I do. But one gets curious, you know. Just how prone to conflict would they be were I to face them? Or how resembling Bill O'Reilly might they be in him taking steps back from a figure like Olbermann? You gotta wonder about these things, but maybe it's for the best that I don't find out. Yeah, I shan't expose myself to all manner of dirty tricks and, fiend-like vultures targeting me because they know I'm the force that can make them look stupid like no one else. You still can't let go of your nationhood despite all these tricks. You still can't let go of your patriotism, oh proud boy, despite all these gimmicks and tricks. Oh, MAGA turns into MIGA so easily, doesn't it? Oh, MAGA morphs into MIGA so seamlessly, doesn't it? Oh, you voted for no more forever wars. Yeah, and the rest of us have to bear the brunt, because it's that democratic wind that you can't abandon, unless you also abandon your liberal principles. And many of us don't want to do that, but they make it hard. They just insist on making it hard. But I won't be dragged down by MAGA or MIGA. I'm gonna endeavor to protect the individual, and especially the innocent individual, by whom I mean those who don't mean me harm.
But if you mean me harm, boy howdy. As a glad Canadian, as a glad Westerner, who knows what that wretched social conservatism is? Who's seen it in the rustic parts of the outboroughs of Eastern and Central Europe? Yes. I shan't be plagued by your needs. I want to empower the individual. I shan't be plagued by your familial needs. Social conservatives, nationhood dupes and patriots. You're why he gets away with it. Your reverence for military might. You're why he gets away with it. You perpetuate the folklore and mythos, the courage of days past, all for your glory and greed for compliments. By way of belonging, it's the only way you get compliments. Y'all's is just a bunch of grunts and ill-bred figures.
Some of this weaponry is unthinkable. You don't even want to know about it. Oh, you could end this thing in 2 seconds if you wanted to, but we are being very judicious.
And it's gonna be in the best interest of America.
I am Kardashian.
Yeah, fake ass. Yeah, fake ass bitch. But like literally fake ass, but yeah, fake ass bitch anyway. Yeah, fake ass bitches, yeah, but like in many cases, increasingly, literally. Yeah. And Photoshop, right? What is it? It's ass woman Photoshop. I don't even have to mess with him this time by putting that Y in there. No, it's just ass woman's good enough. You know, nearly 2 years ago now, I deconverted her name into Ass Woman, and the internet should have noticed. You know, what did she do to the internet? She lit the internet once, but then it's like, oh, but it's like no one calls her this, but never say Kim. No, it should always be Ass Woman. Fake ass. And literally so. But there's all manner of Photoshop here. And this is just to point out, I have a theory. You know, I have a theory that there's a method to the madness. There's a rhyme to the reason. You know, so much. What is she known for? Getting fucked by that NBA guy. Was his name literally Jamal or Lamar? I forget what his name was. I didn't care for the tape beyond the clip I saw. You can't avoid the clips. Even I won't pretend that I avoided the clips of the tape. But, you know, what does it say about society? That, you know, this is pretty much the equivalent to Trump. This is the kind of guy, Trumpism gynocentrically. It's that this has staying power. That tape, you know, SNL destroyed the Kardashians like way back in 2010. But the fans clung on. Now, why did the fans cling on? And why is there a rhyme to, what kind of rhyme to this reason? Like, what is it? Is this just brute, simple exhibitionism? I say no. There's a component to this, but if you think, and the more old you become, and the more you connect dots, you're able to connect dots if you pay attention to life. The more you will weave theories with empirics, and you will see that, you know, it's not just a positive thing. It's a thing that's intended to inflict. And there's a perfect kind of eternal deniability, is if you spout what the theory is, if you spout it in a sentence, you know, then it's like, aha, you're pathetic, because why is it apparent to you? You must be pathetic, because why is it apparent to you? But because I know I'm not pathetic, I'm just going to say it anyway. I'm going to say it anyway. And what they do is they know the stats. They know all this literature about the loneliness epidemic, and they know about how it inflicts males more often. And so they use their flesh and their looks as weapons to inflict psychic wounds on men because they know they can.
And no one says it because then it's like, why is it apparent to you? Why is it apparent to you? And it's just so apparent to everyone, but no one says it that way. What a simple way to put it. They use the flesh not only to exhibit and have their intra-female skankfest competitions, but to also to use the flesh and the looks as weapons to inflict psychic wounds on men. And it's like, you know, the men who really are pathetic especially are afraid to say it, because then when it's like speculated that it's like they're among the pathetic ones, it's like, oh my God, it's true, so I'm especially not gonna say it. But, you know, when you know stuff, then you don't even care what the perceptions are. Oh, why is it so apparent to you? Because it's just apparent. You know, you don't have to be thirsty to understand what they're trying to do, right? Now, what other plausible explanation do you have that it's no one ever puts it in those brute, simple, you know, pin them down terms? You know, how is it not the female converse of the male buffoon in the way of a Trumpist man who's afraid of being lamb-like, and so just to be sure, he's going to endeavor to be as strong and especially to look as strong as he possibly can. You know, just to be sure, you know, oh, I might be lamb-like and can't quite catch on to it. I'm going to endeavor, just to be sure, I'm going to endeavor to be as strong as possible, or at least to look that way. Yeah, that's a male buffoon. And so the vixen is the counterpart, and this is kind of vixen. You know, whatever, re-dressed up, redone up, social media incarnation of the vixen, but really just an exploitness wench, yes. Yeah, the vixen as the counterpart to the oaf, the male buffoon. Yeah, feminist theory is not going to teach you that, because it's gynocentric. And in the best case, you know, sins of omission, yeah, you know. No, it's even worse than Trump, because Trump can at least muster the pretense of, you know, issues. Maybe not today. Today's the 17th of February. Yeah, Trump's fallen apart. He can't even muster the pretense of issues. But like for years and years, when Trump could, at minimum, muster with these sloganeering ways he speaks, the pretense of awareness of issues, you know, he sustained a huge following. But this wasn't even about mustering the pretense of any awareness of issues, you know. Aside from that, you know, I have a legal fake job now. I'm going to try to get a legal lawyer fake job. Yeah. Is she a lawyer? I don't know how'd that pan out. Anyway, you know. Yeah. Your body double died. Your body double died, you know. Don't you feel bad? You know, women who get these, you know, I want to mimic the dumb bitch, you know, jobs, often regret it. Their lives take a turn for the worse. It's like, why doesn't anyone ever ask her about this? These are trends she set. I'm not going to pretend that I feel bad for those women, but it's just interesting. You know, no one dares like call her out, because then it's like they're all afraid that like, oh, I'm going to seem sexually frustrated if I call out the dumb bitch, you know, for being a horrible example to generations of women, for somehow having staying power beyond Trump and not even being about a single issue, you know. But like even the women won't like call her out who know what this is. Vixen, fake ass vixen. Yeah. But yeah, disproportionately female fan base. There's not a male in her fan base. No, that's just a jerk base. She might have a jerk base. Yeah, but you ain't got one in me, baby.
I've always been interested in race relations and racial progress in America, and I wrote, if I go back on my work over the decades, I wrote a lot about school choice and about school reform and about family formation and other things where I felt.
Yeah, what do you mean by school reform? Just different type of school.
The areas to focus on to lift up African Americans who lag behind whites and Hispanics on many social indexes, and but part of my focus was a belief that the worst days of racism were really behind us, that only really kooks and fringe figures were still like old-fashioned racists in America.
I have that in common with Mona Sharon.
And that
That's what I thought too.
Problems were things like, you know, the teachers' unions were too powerful and didn't allow school experimentation.
Yeah, that's what I still think.
And reform, and family structure was a problem.
Experimentation.
School experimentation and reform, and family structure was a problem.
But how about post-school?
In the Black community, of course, in all communities.
How about we de-school society, Mona? No.
But it started in the Black community with family breakup, and that we needed to focus more on building up family structure because that was so important
just,
for people's success.
People who have no business having kids, tell them you have no business having kids.
And what I saw in the last 10 years
judge them.
Me that I had underestimated
as inept parents
the degree to which the naked racism that had been part of American history, and which I was very familiar with, but did not think persisted to this day. I now think that was wrong, that there is a tremendous amount of it, and that it was naive of me to believe that we had conquered it. So that's one thing.
Half of them is like by way of Elon tweets, and then the outpouring of support.
Everything about this is actually insane. Every different piece of it is so weird. We're at war. And everybody's just like, whatever.
All these isolationists. Yeah, I'm telling you that Trump's not going to start new wars. Like, he might deal with terrorists.
But he wants the wars, as he will show.
But he's not going to go and start wars. No, Israel can deal with the regime change themselves.
I don't know how he ties it all together, but 30 seconds ahead, and he outs himself. Oh, yeah, I won the wars.
I'm asking you whether or not these regime changes...
Yeah, this is the first post-Destiny live, spaces, Twitter spaces recording. Those ones you heard, God, those are from before the election, but coming up to it. But yeah, the MAGAs are not any smarter for having won. The maggots are not any smarter for having won. And I think Manchild is disenchanted.
Regime change.
But then again, aren't we all?
Themselves.
I'm asking you whether or not realistically, in a realistic fashion, you think that it's in order for
I don't think Trump's going to go far enough. I would prefer war. Yes, that's me, but I'm the exception.
No, I'm not asking you what you would prefer. I'm asking you, although it's clear now that you support war, that would be what you would support, ideally, and you would support American interventionism. By the way, that sounds a lot like the neocon Republicans.
I would prefer Israel just does it themselves. As for America, I don't really care what we do. I think we have a lot of problems in our own country, and that's why Trump got elected.
But war, in any realistic situation, it would require war.
But don't do that.
The rando caller was at ease callous.
Thing where you're trying to... This is why we do.
And optimistic.
I think we have a lot of problems in our...
support American intervention.
Listen to this.
By the way, that sounds a lot like the neocon Republicans.
I would prefer Israel just does it themselves. As for America, I don't really care what we do. I think we have a lot of problems in our own country, and that's why...
Yeah, Jim needs more luxury, but only wants it, but thinks he needs it. That's your main problem.
Got elected.
But war...
Well, that's the grocery bill. It's technically sustenance, so I shouldn't have... I shouldn't have bundled certain things. Yes, there's sustenance, and then there's luxury. But the reason the sustenance thing is hurting them so bad is because they freaking spend like drunken sailors when times are good. Americans as a people. You look at the consumer rate thing, like when times are good, they spend like sailors. They just don't. But then again, that's why their economy is so hot and growy.
In any realistic situation, it would require...
But there should be, civic advisors. There's... The economy has to take a hit sometimes, so some of y'all save more. Because this, groceries are pricier thing, it shouldn't be hurting you as much as it is.
Don't do that thing where you're trying to... This is why people...
You just dig into the savings when the groceries are higher. But no, you can't, because there's no savings to dig into.
For Trump, you try to twist people's words. I'm saying America should focus on America. The Middle East is going to figure out itself one way or the other, whether America...
Will it, Rando MAGA caller? Will it? No. It never did.
Intervenes
with us or without us, it's not gonna. It's just gonna get worse. It's gonna be the one nuke, whatever, Pakistan, India, other way around. When the nukes start flying, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, and the nuking starts.
On America, I get you were given complete autonomy.
Oh, shut up, Pisco. I want to hear from Destiny. I want to hear from Mancha. I don't want to hear from Pisco. You got P in your name, you stupid guy.
As someone who was supporting Donald Trump,
it was I wasn't this immature in this one so far. I'm being immature.
I don't care. I simply came up here to say I appreciated Destiny for everything he's done. Whether I'm changing
so he's not all that.
your guys' mind,
Because I mean, how can you not?
I don't think I'm going to. You guys probably don't. You guys would.
I think the outcome hurt him more than he's willing to let on in public. I think the outcome on the 5th, I think it stung him more than he's willing to let on.
I think I'm crazy for trying to explain.
And how can you blame him? Look at it. It's all he's all politically focused. He does it well. He memorizes a lot of stupid crap, and he does well in these debates. But clearly he's disenchanted.
Explain to you why the price of a house went from 3 years worth of your salary to over 7
Just get a smaller house or get an apartment. Get an apartment. Ain't nothing wrong with just getting an apartment. But yeah, the apartment is also insane. I mean, I'm locked in a fucking 6% rate. I'm paying 6%. And in Coquitlam, the real estate people don't tell you this. In Coquitlam, I gotta pay $900 a year for water. I gotta pay $900 a year for the water. There's a water tax in Coquitlam because it's all new and fancy.
I'm the average salary, and most millennials never being able to.
But yeah, that's like, real estate agents don't tell you about certain catches. There are certain catches that go beyond this stupid, they don't have like change for 100 catches that I referred to in the past.
Sounds like you're deflecting, sir.
The stupid Tim Hortons here, they don't have. Often they don't have. It's new and they don't have change for 100.
Now you're talking about the cost of living.
The burpee folk all like to pay with, the card thing instead of the cash thing. But I'm the phobic spender. I have to see the exchange to feel good about it.
Every reason why Trump.
I was too retro.
Is this the conversation that you want to have right now? I fucking despise all of you, dude.
And when he says you, he means the Jews. He unironically means the Jews.
Oh man, what a meme lord. That's why I said yesterday, I urge Ethan
to grow his foreskin back
to Sam Cedar
and become a Muslim.
Okay? Ew.
There are very thoughtful, very kind.
He's got the word seed in his name. Of course I'm going to go, ew, Sam Cedar. And all the takes are really bad too, but geez.
God, can I just say, thank God Michael Brooks is dead for the Israel-Palestine shit this past year, because it would have been so insufferable listening to him on top of, rest in peace, okay, for this dipshit, okay, but oh my God, can you imagine how fucking horrible it would be if he was part of these conversations too? He had some of the worst Israel-Palestine takes in the fucking world. Thank God I'm not inundated with his cuck bullshit as well. Oh my God.
DanClancySocks.com. Say something else.
Holy fuck, Destiny. That was...
Okay, make sure you include that in the
ending.
Drop the brutal pill.
I just say, thank God Michael Brooks is dead for the Israel-Palestine shit this past year, because it would have been so insufferable listening to him on top of, rest in peace, okay, for this dipshit, okay, but oh my God, can you imagine how fucking horrible it would be?
Inference.
If he was part of this conversation too, he had some...
Shut up, Destiny. Destiny's little helper. And no avail, shut up. No avail is gonna be told to shut up too. Yeah, shut up, no avail. I have an inference to make. And the inference is, Trump's not the only one who is not pretending to be reverent when someone dies, right? Trump's not the only one who is like, I'm not gonna be reverent about it. I'm gonna be irreverent and then some. Yeah, people pretended to read the Mueller report. It's just an ungodly number of pages, and a bunch of people pretended to know. And so I'm going to pretend that I read it too here, and it's like, Trump, you're deluded, Trump. Robert Mueller wasn't your enemy. He saved your ass. He saved your ass because I'm going to pretend I read all that crap when I didn't. But he probably is legit delusional that Mueller is his enemy because he usually is delusional, so I'm going to say it seriously too. But beyond that, it's like Trump's not the only one who is irreverent and callous when people die. A lot of others are. But a lot of people in blue America pretend like it's just Trump, or they pretend it's worse when it's the president because they revere the presidency still, because they revere institutions. So yeah, sometime back on the 19th, hours ago in this video, hours and hours and hours ago, I said no more development news updates, but I just had to do this one because it's an inference, And plus,
he must know that, like, there's a bunch of people who say in advance that they're gonna dance and sing and shit when he dies, which is really stupid and almost proves the Trump derangement syndrome thing. Like, he's neutralized if he dies, or if he's just out of the presidency. Like, he's neutralized. So it's like, if you dance when he dies, first of all, he's gonna escape his decrepitude by just not existing, right? So he's gonna escape in a way. But I'm not allowed to put it in those terms either, because then, like, naturalist Ted, anal guy, will say, no, actually, no, he doesn't escape. But you know what I mean. You know, and it's like, people, like, they think it's good that if he dies, but it's like, no, because then he doesn't suffer his own decrepitude anymore. He just isn't. But beyond that, it's also stupid to say that you're going to dance when he dies, because it's like, then it's like almost like he's a formidable foe, but he's not. He's weak and stupid. And increasingly so. But he still has people that he dupes, so, you know, the progs are like, oh, I'm worried about him, he's a force. But yeah, the point is, you know, it's like, if anyone is justified to not be reverent about the people who die, it's like the guy who knows there's like millions and millions and millions and like tens of millions across the world, but, you know, millions of people just in America who have been vocal about the fact that they're gonna dance and sing and celebrate when he dies. So it's like, if he's, you know, not allowed to be irreverent about the death of others and his opponents, who he thinks are his opponents, but who are probably not. You know, if he's not allowed to be, then no one is. But yeah, R.I.P. Mueller, I hardly knew ye. R.I.P. Mueller, I hardly knew ye. And yeah, you know, if you disagree with me on this point, you're an idiot. You know, if the guy who it's like everyone, like a lot of people are going to dance when he dies. So it's like, come on. And also, let me just queue up some Bertney, because you deserve it for sticking around this long. There's much more Bertney, but I didn't snip the additional ones. I haven't checked back in on Bertney in like 2 weeks, but it's the Bertney video, but that's just how long it's been. You know, but this is just to say, yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have queued up the Bertney. It's hard to concentrate, man. Yeah, Bertney was thirsty, right? Yeah, of course. I want to go back to hours and hours ago in this video when I did that, you know, no updates past March 19th segment. And I just want to say, you know, I want to change whatever's in that static, but the video is so damn long that I'm not going to do it. I want to put some Trump Mueller thing in the static on that one. It's like, aha, but there is an update after March 19th too. But it's like the video is so long, it's like, it's too exhausting just trying to finish it. This will be like the first video in a while where I'm just going to let it render and export. And I'm not going to be present for it because I gotta sleep. I gotta sleep, man. I gotta sleep. Based in 80s pill. 80s underground, I mean. Yeah. Lyrical pessimism out of context pilled. Oh, jackpot. Yeah. No, it's Dada. It's Dada. I hate my old man. I've gone into it in previous videos, but even I can admit certain things. Yeah, even I can admit it. You know, sometimes you ought to just listen to Daddy.